Zombie apocalypse.
Good day, MAIE students who are currently taking TLE 210, which is the Electrical and Electronics Technology course. By the way, this is Sir Kenji E. Merenciano, your course facilitator. So, class, before we proceed, may I ask, am I audible? Is my voice clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, for those who were not around last meeting, we had a fruitful, a productive discussion, and we had an activity also. At the same time, I provided you some lectures about an overview, introduction to electricity and electronics. Okay, we discussed about the nature and concepts. Before we proceed with the of coming up with a circuit, building your project, Ohm's law, problem solving, identification or familiarization with the components and circuitry. Let us first know the underpinning principles or philosophies when it comes to this principle, the electricity and electronics. Okay, so I presented. Actually, we had a game before the presentation, right? We have the MEIEs for picks one word. And we also before we proceed with the discussion of the nature and concepts, how electricity started, what its origin, and before based on the definition, we said that electricity is a form of energy, or some reference it says that it is a natural phenomenon. That's why lightning is a good example of electricity. Okay. So aside from that, we also discuss about how electricity flows. Right? How can we say that there is electricity in a circuit or in a device or appliance? Okay. If you can still remember or recall, I presented to you the electron theory, which it started about matter, diba? Matter, if we can recall, is anything that occupies space and has mass, right? And matter is made up of elements and compounds, or it's made up of in atoms or in compounds, diba? Atoms is the building blocks of the universe, and it is the smallest particle or unit of an element. So yun ang basic, diba? Unit of an element. So to explain fully the flow of electricity, we tried to discuss and present to you the concept of the atomic structure. Based on my example, pinakita ko doon yung atomic structure of copper. So, atoms is made up of electrons. Ito yung particle, the negative charge particle, which is responsible for the flow of electricity. Ito yung dahilan kung bakit meron tayong kuryente. And not only that, we also have protons. I know that the orbits, ito yung sinabi ni Miss Vasquez before na electron orbit or electrical orbit. Ito yung pathway or direction ng movement ng electrons. We also have protons. I know the nucleus. The nucleus, ito yung central part, diba? Wherein it has inside of it has a protons and neutrons. Protons, it's yung positive. Because we're talking about polarity, pag sinabi nating positive, ang symbol niya is a cross, diba? A cross. Pag sinabing negative, parang hyphen, or diba? That pag nag-proceed kayo sa circuits, analysis of circuits diagrams, makita kayong minus or plus sign. Plus is the positive, and then the other one's the negative symbol. Neutrons naman po, this is the neutral charge or uncharged particle kasama ng kasama ng proton. Diba? Paano nagkakaroon ng flow of electricity? It's because of electrons. Diba? I made mention of valence. Okay. Ito yung last electron found in the outermost shell of an atom. Okay? Kasi if you will observe, parang ang structure ng atom para siyang movement of planets. May large, may small, and kapag malayo na yung last electron found in the outermost shell or the last part of an atom, ito yung valence. Yung valence, since gumagalaw siya because of the attraction ng electron and proton. However, hindi nagkakaroon ng attraction. Instead, nagmo-move na lang siya sa orbit because of what we call electrostatic force or charge. Okay. So, the tendency, instead na mag-attract yung electron sa proton, parang umiikot na lang siya. Diba? It's either in counter or clockwise direction. But once it located na sa malayo, so pinakalas shell or orbit, the tendency is bibitaw na siya, 'di ba? Because it will become a free electron and magta-transfer siya sa isang atom na kulang ng isang electron. So the tendency is to transfer from one atom to another, and that's the time that we can say that there is already a flow of electricity. Okay? I also remember we had an activity about yung mga laboratory practices for safety. If you will be teaching TLE major in electrical and electronics technology, a teacher or instructor should orient first his or her students about the safety practices or the safety measures that the student should adhere para guided siya and to refrain or to so that he or she will not meet accidents or danger. Okay? So, if you can still remember, hiningan ko kayo ng iba't ibang sagot ninyo regarding sa safety practices or measures. Okay? So, I forgot also to discuss class this is related to safety practices. Have you heard of good housekeeping? The 5S? Anybody knows that? I think sa baking, sa food service, or sa any other subjects na may laboratory, I think you already encountered this. Am I right?
Yes po.
Okay. Sir Junel, can you tell us your idea about sige, your kwan mo lang, yung naalala mo lang. Sort of a review.
Yung ano po, sir, 5S of good housekeeping, sort. Yung sort, meron siyang standardized stay, sweep,
Mhm.
yung sweep or cleaning. Tapos yung isa, sir, nakalimutan, set in order.
Okay. So, right. So, itong 5S na to, these are principles or guiding principles. Actually, ang origin niya sa bahay. It's in Japan. Tama, correct. Okay, kasi pag sinabi natin Japanese, in terms of their culture, in terms of their tawag ito, values, talagang napakasinop nila and napaka-articulate nila when it comes to cleanliness. Diba? And they are really conscious about time. Diba? If I can still remember, I saw a video from a social media na yung mga persons in charge sa isang bullet train. Imagine nyo na-delay lang ng a matter of minutes or 3 minutes. And the owner and the staff and yung mga employee doon, parang they bow their heads, parang they're asking for forgiveness para sa mga naabalang commuter. Imagine 5 minutes lang or a matter of minutes lang, parang big deal sa kanila. So they bow their heads as sign of respect that they na late kasi they're really conscious sa time. Diba? Talagang magaling sila sa time management. And I attended a seminar or I think a webinar. It's a technical training sa automation, and I saw the program, your contents ng program. Halimbawa, the program will start at 7:30. So 7:30 to 7:45 ganito yung mangyayari. Parang introduction or parang introduction to the speaker, and 7:45 parang they're very conscious sa time. Ganun sila ka-professional, 'di ba? Unlike sad to say sa atin, hindi naman sa kinakaya ko yung ating lahi. Pero 'di ba parang nakakainis lang isipin na may tinatawag tayong Filipino time. Parang iba ang dating ng iba. Pag sinabing Filipino time, lagi daw late or parang sign of tardiness or parang ganun yung dating. So, parang kino-compare tayo sa ibang bansa like sa Japan that they are very conscious sa time. Okay? And very aware. Sana maging practice natin na sana mabago din yung perception ng ilan. Pag sinabing Filipino time, parang people or Filipinos are prompt, parang punctuality ang lagi nilang parang sinasa puso nila ang punctuality. So, parang kasi minsan laging excuse sa ating time eh. Ang time is andyan eh. Hindi na may nawawala eh. It's how we deal, it's how we manage our time. Okay? And I know you here are studying electrical and electronics. Right? Kasi I know iba-ibang forte natin or discipline. The one thing that I would like to emphasize or parang wisdom that I would like to share from you class is though professionals tayo, hindi naman ibig sabihin that we are professional. Alam naman natin lahat, right? Isang iba sa atin nakapag-aralan ng masters or doctoral, parang 'di ba? Parang they think that they are above normal people or they think that they know everything. One thing I've learned from my mentors, from my professors sa PhD and even in my undergrads, even in my masteral, sabi nila sa akin, sabi ng mga prof na naging teacher ko is sometimes you should be teachable, 'di ba? Hindi lahat ng bagay alam natin mo. So dapat even na-earn mo na yung pinaka-highest degree, it doesn't mean na alam mo na lahat, 'di ba? Explore mo na to, alam mo na your experience. That's why me also I'm continue learning. 'Di ba? Kaya 'di ba tayo kino-consider natin we are lifelong learners, right? Kahit tapos ka ng PhD, kahit tapos ka ng masters, you undergo these trainings, meron ka ng mga licenses or credentials. It doesn't mean to say na alam mo na lahat or your journey ends there, 'di ba? Even myself, I'm still continue learning. Halimbawa, itong online learning, wala akong formal training nito. So what I did, I just browse sa I just watch video tutorials. So natutunan ko gamitin yung software. Kaya tama yung observation ni Ma'am Glaze. Sa dami ng ginagawa mo sa trabaho mo, lalo na kapag nag-online ka, ang dami mong i-consider eh. Yung internet connection mo, yung audibility, yung the sounds, right? Even yung how you find ways or do some interventions kapag sa mga students na hindi nakakapasok sa online or nahirapan ma-connect. So ganun ka challenging. Okay? I didn't consider it as a problem but as a challenge. Kasi dapat as educator, 'di ba? Dapat responsive ka to this new learning education landscape or this new learning setting. 'Di ba? Sa amin, this coming first sem, ganun pa rin yung modality. Pero from a flexible learning, now we will be migrating, babalik kami sa blended learning. So may touch na siya ng face-to-face, pwede na kami mag face-to-face but limited pa rin. And pagdating sa lecture, online or synchronous or perhaps asynchronous, pwede mag-upload lang kami ng mga lectures. Okay. Kaya ako, I seldom conduct asynchronous kasi yung learners ko hindi naman versed masyado sa electricity and electronics. Only I think one is it Ma'am Borella ata? Yung ating isang classmate ninyo dito ang talagang inclined sa discipline ito. So that's why I often resort to synchronous or online meeting. Okay? So tama yung sinabi ni Sir Jonel na pag sinabing 5S, ito yung may kasi 5S may mga meaning yan eh. Kagaya ng sort, set and order. How about the rest? Do you have any idea or did you encounter this principle? Class? Have you heard of it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ma'am Vasquez. Saan mo siya in-apply or ginamit or saan mo siya narinig? Can you tell us?
Usually po, sir, yung 5S po, we are using it during laboratories po. The preparation before and after the laboratory.
Okay. So, yung good housekeeping is ginagamit, sabi ni according to Miss Vasquez, sa laboratory works or during the laboratory class, which is correct also. And if you will be handling TLE with electrical electronics, even in other field, di ba? May ino-orient niyo or in-inform niyo yung mga students about the 5S or the good housekeeping. Kasi yung good housekeeping class, it started in Japan. Now in-apply ng I think General Motors, it's a company. To be successful, kailangan mag-apply mo to, i-adapt na principle. Let me share yung in-upload kong material. So, just to give you an overview, hindi natin to i-touch or tatake lahat. Okay. Ano nga yun? By the way, nakikita po ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So, pag sinabi natin, actually, from 5S, nag-upgrade siya. From 5S to 7S. So, let us decipher or try to study this principle. According to other books or reference, when you say 5S or 7S of good housekeeping, these are set of rules or policies and standards needed in order to maintain the cleanliness, to have a discipline to your field of work or to your workstation. So that is the simplest meaning of good housekeeping. The key principles for this is organization makes work and life easier. If you adhere, if you abide, if you know these key principles. Organization, ang good housekeeping is not just about cleanliness but organization. Meaning, setting things in order. It is a skill that can be learned. To be organized, meron siyang two-step process. Dalawa lang po siya. It's getting organized and staying organized. Okay? How to organize yourself, and that principle, how do you apply it in your life or in your field of work or even at home? And let me share you a brief story. Ako po had an experience of siguro when I was hired after a year, I was parang I undergo an industry exposure. Parang sort of a faculty immersion. When we say immersion, parang na-experience ko sa I was immersed in a certain electronics company. The name of the company was HGST. HGST, ito yung sinasabi kong yung, di ba, I think you are familiar with hard drives. Ito yung parang storage ng computer. And even your, may mga external hard drives na, these are storage of information or data or files. So, I was exposed and immersed to the company, and nalaman ko na ito palang 5S or 7S ay ina-apply din. Kapag na-hire sila, yung mga employers or staff, they undergo yung parang orientation about the company and ini-introduce to 5S principle or the 7S. And I also learned the PDCA cycle. Itong PDCA cycle, makikita nyo to or ma-observe nyo to sa mga electronics company, automobile industry, mga private or corporate, and even sana hopefully this can be applied to your school. Pag sinabi nating PDCA cycle, ito po yung ibig sabihin niya, it's the abbreviation for this is plan, do, check, and act. It attempts to provide a repeatable set of steps that a team or individual can learn and follow. So sa plan, which you need to first select the problem. And ano ba yung mga problems or perennial problem na in-experience nyo sa isang company or organization na kailangan bigyan ng solusyon or process? And how, and out of that problem, how can you improve? Ano bang opportunity niya para ma-improve or ma-resolve yung problem? So, once you identify the problem, the next is the do cycle. So, implement the solution or process change. Para din siya, if you can still remember yung ang tawag doon sa yung production of AV aids and devices, parang design thinking yung approach niya, pero this time sa company wherein you try to identify yung mga problems na meron doon and try to as a team, let's say you are a team leader and you discuss it with your group and finding a solution to that specific problem. Next is to observe and review or perhaps evaluate the result of change, and act is reflect and act on learning. So i-apply mo siya. Okay? So yan ang principle sa isang company na ina-adapt din yung PDCA cycle. So pag sinabi nating good housekeeping, these are techniques that provide a methodology for organizing, cleaning, developing and sustaining a productive work or environment. Kasi good housekeeping promotes productivity, safety, and cleanliness. So ito yung mga magiging result kapag you adhere or you abide to this principle. And efficiency. Okay? So ito yung mga ito yung magiging result kapag you follow the principle. Okay, the first one is sort. Actually, since it originated in Japan, ang sort sa Japan is SEIR, S-E-I-R. So it means to sort out or to remove unwanted things. Okay? Halimbawa, na-assign ka sa office sa clerical works, di ba? Ang dami mo mga incoming or outgoing mga files or documents or communications. So, and if you're working in a laboratory naman, sa isang industry, marami kang mga tools or mga materials or mga wear and tear na mga parts ng isang electronics. So, kailangan mo siyang i-dispose or alisin. And another example of sorting, halimbawa, gumagawa ng mga project yung mga students and you notice that there are soft drinks, there are snacks in the table, which is hindi naman kailangan. Lalo na kung laboratory time. So that is what we meant by sort. Diba? Okay? O, kagaya ng, bawa sa bahay, I think there is the implementation of proper waste segregation. Right? Yung nabubulok, hindi nabubulok, tapos recyclable. So, yan po ang concept ng sorting. Okay? Next naman is systematize. Say so. Okay. Pag sinabing say so, ito yung this pertains to um what do you call this? Um Setting things in order. Or in other words, organizing. So, sa office or sa school, how do you organize yourself? Diba? Even at home. Diba? Halimbawa, pag may marami akong tasks or activities na ginagawa, I list down or jot down. Diba? Sa bahay, sineseparate kung ano yung panlabas, ano pa yung pambahay na damit, diba? Ano yung sa decolor, sa deputy. So, it's up to you how you organize yourself. From simple things sa mga bahay until sa mga endeavor ninyo. Sa mga ginagawa ninyo sa opisina, sa trabaho. So, you apply this second principle. Okay? The third one is shine or cleaning. Diba? Ito yung how do you clean your classroom or laboratory? Is it during? Is it before? Diba? Ang cleaning kasi um, um, hindi po yan isahan lang. That's why pag during the face to face, kapag may laboratory kami, before we start with the activity, we clean before and and we uh, and we and we clean after. Hey class, tanungin ko kayo. Pagdating, let's talk about gawaing bahay. I have a simple question. How do you clean your house? Halimbawa, kayo po, can you share us, how do you clean your house? Meron ba kayong ginagawang step by step or anybody who would like to share?
Sir,
Sige
ayun.
ma'am.
Apo. Siguro po sa simple lang, for example, 'di ba, pag kukuha ka ng mga pinggan, yung plato, syempre before mo gamitin, hugasan mo muna, babanlawan mo. Then after mong gamitin, hugasan mo rin. Ganun po.
Okay, sige.
So before and after na gamitin mo, lilinisin mo po. Kasi 'di ba, sometimes pag kahit sabihin mong naka-store siya ng mabuti, baka mamaya may alikabok, may dumikit na kung something na ano po, ayun. Kaya mas better na before and after po.
Okay, thank
Ayun
you.
po.
Thank you ma'am Grace. Pero class, what if, halimbawa, Saturday or Sunday, magkakaroon tayo ng general cleaning. So, ano yung mga dapat yung mga unang tinatandaan or dapat yung gawin ay mga dapat yung i-consider pag maglilinis? How about the rest? Who would like to share? Ano kayo nagko-conduct ng general cleaning? Ano ba? Uh, um, magsigid, ay, may taga Manila pala tayo. Magwalis ba agad? Saan ba kayo unang magwawalis? Or may magpupunas ba agad? Ano ba yung mga kinukonsider nyo muna?
Sir,
May, yes po?
um, sa amin sir, sa sitwasyon po namin, kasi yung family namin medyo marami.
Ay, sorry.
So,
Sige sir,
sir,
go ahead.
nakatoka na po, halimbawa po sa paglalaba. Kasi every Saturday po talaga yung family namin naglalaba. Tapos meron na rin po, like yung pamangkin ko,
Mhm.
nakatoka na po siya sa pagmap po nung sahig. Tapos yung sa isang pamangkin ko naman po, kasi dito po sa bahay, marami po yung pamangkin ko. So,
Mhm. Hello sir?
hindi masyadong mabigat kasi lahat po kami gumagawa.
Okay. Sige. Thank you sir. So, kay Sir Marlon, ang ginagawa niya is parang nagbibigay ng assignments, 'di ba? So each members of the family, sa case ni Sir Marlon, mga pamangkin niya, right? May tagalaba, may tagahugas, may taga-map. Okay. How about the others? Ano ba yung mga strategy ninyo? Example lang ha, pagwawalis. Paano ba kayo nagwawalis? Madaling sabihin ano, may makita ka lang doon, may walis ba agad? Ano ba yung mga strategy or ginagawa ninyo para mapadali yung paglilinis ng bahay? Particularly sa pagwawalis lang tayo ha. Anybody would like to share? Hello? Hello, class. Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Sige po.
Yes, sir.
Sige po. Who would like to share to us? Sige. Yes, ma'am.
Um, Hindi po siya sir sa parang hindi siya lang sa pagwawalis naka-focus yung sagot ko.
Sige, ma'am.
'Pag naglilinis po kasi ako dito sa bahay, parang yung inuuna ko po muna i-sort out yung mga hindi na kailangan, kumbaga yung mga basura na. Tapos isa-sort out siya, parang ise-segregate dun sa mga kailangan pa. Say for example po sa papers na kasi nga sa school, ang daming mga files. Yung mga hindi na kailangan, isa-sort out na po. Tapos yung mga kailangan naman i-maintain lang. Tapos saka na po ako magtatanggal ng alikabok, magbabrush ng sahig. Ganun po, sir.
Okay. Sige. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing. Thank you, ma'am Jane.
Opo.
Pero ang tanong ko lang po is sa pagwawalis, saan at paano kayo mag-uumpisa? Basic lang yan, ha? Paano ba kayo nagwawalis? Let's say, meron kayong general cleaning. So, paano kayo nagwawalis? Ay, may dumi dito. Dito na ba ako mag-uumpisa? Yes, Ma'am Jopel?
Hi, sir.
Hello po.
Ano sir, kapag magwawalis ka sir, uunahin mo sir muna is gawin ay yung pulutin mo muna sir yung mga bagay na yung malalaki baga sir, for example, pag may plastic or may mga ballpen dyan na nahulog. So para mas madali sir makapagwalis ng mga dust, yun. So uunahin mo munang pulitin yung mga malalaking bagay.
Okay, so,
Yun po. Simple as that.
okay, sige. So, si ma'am, ang inuuna niya muna is yung pagpupulot, ha? Pero ma'am, technically, mama, ang pinag-usapan natin, pagwawalis, ha? Pagwawalis. Paano ba kayo nagwawalis? Ganun lang po yung tanong ko.
So, after sir, mapulot mo na yung mga bagay na malalaki, and then mag-iumsa ka na sir doon sa dulo.
Sa
Corner
dulo
by
ka?
corner sir.
Oh, sige.
Doon muna sir for example, sa dulo sir ng bahay sir.
Mm-hmm.
Hanggang sa makaabot ka sir doon sa pinto.
Sige.
Side by side sir.
Sige. So, according to Ma'am Jopel, thank you ma'am for sharing, ano. So, si ma'am, after pulitin yung mga bagay or object, so, mag-umpis siya magwalis daw sa dulo or sa mga kanto. Hanggang papunta sa labas ng bahay. So, ganyan po ba ang practice ninyo or ginagawa? Ang sitwasyon natin na general cleaning para mapadali yung paglinis natin. I think I saw the hand of Miss Vasquez. Would like to react or any other strategy? Yes po.
Excuse me. Siguro sir, syempre sir, part ng pagwawalis is yung mga alikabok na din sir sa part ng mga windows.
Yan, alikabok.
Siguro sir, mamunas mo na sir, ay clean the windows muna sir. And then saka po walis.
Mhm.
Para sa akin sir, from side, pagitna, then palabas na po.
O sige, tumaas tayo, ha. According to Ma'am Vasquez, it would be better na unahin muna yung mga bintana, linisan. Okay? Kasi pag sinabi nating cleaning the house baga, ang pinaka lagi natin kontrabida dyan is yung mga alikabok or dumi na nagkakos ng, di ba, naapektuhan yung ating lang saka or nakakakos ng sakit. So, according to ma'am, bintana daw. Unlike kay Ma'am Jopel, side by side, papunta sa labas. So, kay Ma'am Vasquez, bintana muna, tapos after yung mga dumi na nahulog sa baba, saka magwawalis. Okay? Who else? Last, before I give my reaction. Ang sitwasyon natin, general cleaning. Sige. And ang task is cleaning the yun, pagwawalis. Sige. Yes, Sir Ascucha. Sir Jonel.
Same lang po kay Madam Christine or Miss Vasquez. Pero yung inuuna namin, ceiling muna bago yung binta. Ceiling, tapos ibabaw ng mga aparador or cabinets. Then windows, and after windows, yung mga gilid na. So, i-move muna yung mga appliances and other furnitures para malinis yung mga kanto-kanto, tapos gilid-gilid. Tapos pagitna, tapos palabas, iipon sa gitna, tapos ilalabas yung mga basura.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Jonel. Yun po ang sinasabi ko. Okay. Pag kasi I learned this a strategy or way of cleaning sa mga Japanese. Okay. Practically speaking, saka 'di ba? Pag maglinis ka, dapat umpisa ka sa taas, 'di ba? Sa ceiling ka muna kasi doon ang pinaka 'di ba, matagal na stock ng mga alikabok or other types of dirt. Tapos pababa ka papunta ng bintana hanggang sa kasi naipon 'di ba? Kasi gravity, 'di ba? Science 101, yung mga alikabok, yung mga dumi bababa sa lupa or sa flooring. Kasi kung magwawalis ka agad tapos may nakikita ka na may mga agyo pa or dumi, tapos di ba nagwalis ka sa baba sa flooring. Tapos, ay may nakita ka may mga agyo naman. So nalinisan mong dumi sa baba, madudumihan yun ulit, 'di ba? So to be practical class, so sa concept ng 5S, dapat you start cleaning kasi if we're talking household, mga tasks natin, advisable po na maglinis po tayo sa taas muna. Sa ceiling, papunta sa mga bintana, sa mga aparador, para yung mga dumi, isahan na po. Hindi yung, 'di ba? 'Di ba, common sense naman po siguro. Halimbawa, inumpisan mo sa baba, tapos malis na sa baba, maglinis ka pa ng bintana, yung mga dumi na galing sa bintana, mahuhulog or yung alikabok. So, linis ka ulit sa baba. Tapos maglinis ka naman ulit sa ceiling. Diba? So, hindi po siya practical. So, it will consume a lot of time. At saka yung labor, yung effort nyo sa paglilinis. So, to be practical, diba? So, yun po ang aking minimi ng good housekeeping. So, that's the third one, cleaning. So, let's proceed to the next. Balik tayo. Ikaw. Sige. So, by the way, nakikita po ba? Please let me know if you can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the fourth one is standardized. So, you maintain high standard of housekeeping. Halimbawa, a good example of this sa classroom, yung mga students ko. Since alam nila that they need to clean the laboratory room before and after, to apply the fourth principle, yung mga students, binibigyan ko ng assignments. Halimbawa, for Monday, ito yung group of students na magiging cleaners, headed by a leader. So, yun pa lang, tinuturuan natin yung mga students natin how to be disciplined, how to work in groups, and then, di ba, it's yung social responsibility nila and how in maintaining the cleanliness of the room. Diba? So, magandang i-apply yun sa classroom natin. Okay? That's why, pag sinabing standardized, you set, parang pinapractice nyo siya or ina-apply. Okay? Halimbawa naman, if we are talking about laboratory class in electricity and electronics, I assign somebody parang toolkeeper. Okay? Yung toolkeeper, since meron kaming mga available na soldering iron, tools and equipment, sa electronics and electrical, yung toolkeeper, siya po nag-check and nagmo-monitor ng mga gamit, ng paggamit ng mga estudyante ng mga tools and equipment nila. And even paghihiram and then paano ibabalik, minomonitor po yan ng ating toolkeeper. So ito yung mga magandang practices. And kapag in-apply mo na tong 4 na standard na to, apat na principle nito, ito yung PIP 1. It will be your self-discipline. Kung araw-araw mo ginagawa yung 7S, parang commitment mo na siya, and then you know how to organize yourselves, nag-scheduling ka, you know how to manage your time, and then yung workstation mo organized and clean. Not just kapag mayroong bisita, 'di ba? Alam ko yung school niyo binibisit din, subject for accreditation or evaluation, or binibisit din kayo ng mga heads or supervisor ninyo. So, kailangan natin maglinis, meron tayong bisita, 'di ba? Parang typical Filipino culture. Even sa amin, admittedly, pag meron din kami accreditation na merong somebody will evaluate, will check our classroom, will evaluate the students, and kailangan namin parang dapat this should be a practice already na part of your commitment or your attitude towards your job. Yan ang sinasabi natin the fifth S or the self-discipline. So we have sort or seri, Seiton, which means sort, standardize, or Seiton. Says sweep, shine, it's seso for cleaning. Fourth, standardize, which is Siketsu. It's the Japanese term. And yung the fifth one, Sitsuke or self-discipline. So yan ang 5S of good housekeeping. Yung 6 naman class, for the update, is what we call safety. Kasi kung for housekeeping ang ating ina-apply sa ating bahay, sa field of work natin, it can cause accidents. So, therefore, our workplace must maintain order throughout the workplace. And 7 is to sustain. Okay? But in other reference class, in other books, ang 7S daw is not sustain. But ang nakalagay po doon is save Mother Earth. So, we're talking about nature. Diba? I think you've seen the news about what is the status of our Earth right now. Diba? I think you heard about carbon footprints, emission, global warming, diba? If you will observe, iba na yung ating climate, right? Iba na yung dati, pag December talagang malamig, pero iba na yung pagdating ng January and February, dun pa lang. Diba? I think these are observable things na iba na yung sitwasyon ngayon because of climate change. And I encourage you class na you should come up with a possibly research that promotes green technology, a survey or a study about our environment and how will affect you as teachers. So yun ang mga possible research studies na pwede nyong gawin or any activity na sana ma-promote natin yung environment. Hindi lang yung, 'di ba? I think you're aware of Earth Hour, wherein parang what do you call this? May certain time na kailangan i-off yung mga appliances para to save or mabawasan yung carbon emission or something with the protection in the environment. So yun po ang ating mga role na ginagampanan. Hindi lang po tayo nakakahon lang sa four corners of the classroom. Dapat meron tayong pagmalasakit din as educators and we as teachers. As an agent of change, as catalyst, we can do something. How to promote, how to protect and save Mother Earth. Kahit nagtuturo ka ng electricity, ng electronics, ng baking, kailangan din pag-usapan natin kasi it's very timely. Kasi yung Earth natin, hindi na, as far as I know, hindi na maganda yung status or kalagayan niya. Okay, so that is all about good housekeeping or 7S. And let's again proceed to, by the way, are there any questions or clarifications about good housekeeping? Class?
None.
Okay, so another interesting topic that I would like you to share is actually continuation to ng nature and concepts of electricity. So let me open and share this to you. Sige. Short while. Wala dito. Ito na. Nakikita po ba, class? Please confirm.
Yes,
sir.
Okay, so ito yung activity namin last time, yung sa 4 picks, 1 word. And pinag-aralan natin yung matter, atom, and we end up sa dito. Diba? Kaya baga yung definition class ng electricity is the flow of electron. Ito nakikita nyo gumagalaw and nagka-transfer from one atom to another atom is what we call electrons. That's why this is the part that we can say that there is a flow of electricity in a wire, a conductor, or a path. Diba? If the valence electron becomes a free electron, it will transfer to an imbalanced atom. Kasi, diba? For example, if last time I mentioned about copper. Copper is a good example of conductor. Since we're talking about conductor, later on, pag-iusapan natin kung ano tong conductor na to. We also have insulators and semiconductors. So this is how electrons flow in a circuit or in a wire. So I also made mention on the flow of electricity. So sir, meron palang dalawang klase or way on how electrons flow in a wire or a path. Kapag we have the electron flow and conventional current. Diba? From negative to positive, that is electron flow. Okay. On the counterpart naman niya, from positive to negative, that is the conventional flow of current. Okay. Can you look at the picture? Okay. We'll be having another activity. Anong mangyayari kapag pag nilapit itong balloon saka itong wool or fabric? And in the next picture naman, have you experienced this? Pag nagsusuklay kayo, and kapag dinidikit niyo yung comb or suklay sa balahibon niyo. Class, are you still with me?
Sir. Dumidikit po yung buhok doon sa akong.
Bakit kaya? And have you, siguro when you were in elementary, have you tried the experiment of the balloon and the wool or fabric? Ano nangyayari? Class, are you still with me?
Sir, ang na-try po namin yung comb, parang ikikis-kis siya dun sa may table, then yung may small paper, tapos didikit yung paper.
Okay.
So, ayun po. Parang may kinalaman siya sa friction, tapos nag-aano ng static energy ba yun?
Yun.
Ayun po.
Okay. So, may tinatawag tayong okay. Tama yung observation ni ma'am. The term is static. Okay? So, based on the what do you call this? Teka lang. Let's proceed sa PowerPoint. So, itong pictures na to, may kinalaman to sa isang klase ng electricity known as static. Tama yung observation ni Sir Abila and ma'am na kapag yung balloon and then yung fabric, kapag scratch, and kahit nga yung paper yung small a piece of paper, pag they are rubbed together, nagkakaroon ng adhesion or attraction sa kaisa. Even yung sa balahibo, di ba? Sa balahibo ng ating skin, and then yung suklay, biglang tumataas. Okay? And ano pa? And yung iba yung monoblock, 'di ba? Yung monoblock chairs na ginagamit ng mga estudyante, kapag umuupo sila, the experience parang tumataas yung balahibo nila, tumitindig, and then nagkakaroon ng ang tawag doon is static electricity. By the way, class, since we're talking about static electricity, Have you experienced po, halimbawa, meron kayong seminar or event, tapos syempre meron ka, yung pagtutulugan nyo sa isang hotel. Syempre sa isang hotel or sa isang room, meron dun aircon, di ba? I actually, it happens to me every time na nasa isang room na malamig, and kapag hinawakan ko yung doorknob, nakukuryente ako. Nasashock ako. Have you experienced this? Yes?
Sir, ano naman po, na-experience ko po siya, for example nga, sa malamig na places. For
Yeah.
example,
Mm.
nasa mall. Tapos, hindi po siya, mismong kahit tao sa tao, yung kunwari, nagbanggaan kayo ng, ng siko, may parang, parang makukuryente ka.
Mm.
Ayun po. Yun yung palagi ko nararanasan na pag may
Oo.
bumangga sa'yo, parang may maano kang electricity.
Okay. Hindi naman po ma'am lab ang tawag dyan. Or kapartner mo.
Hindi naman.
So, ako kasi nagtataka ako, bakit kaya every time na malamig, tapos hawakan, di ba yung minsan yung doorknob, made of metal, talaga nagkakaroon ng kuryente. Simply because of the presence or the movement of electrons in our body. Kasi our body is per se a good conductor of electricity. Because 80% of our body is made up of water. Okay? Sa tingin ninyo, okay, since we're talking about the body, what will happen kapag yung tao na kuryente? As in talagang ang boss niya nasa mataas. Ano bang, have you seen a person na nakuryente? What specific part of the body ang parang nagnanam, nagiitim? Have you seen a news or have you read or know someone na nakuryente, and di ba? Ano nangyayari sa body nila? Any idea?
Na burn.
Okay, burn. Ano ba usually na burn? Anong part ng body? Mostly mostly.
Yung skin, sir.
Okay, what's skin in specific? Okay. Kasi if you will observe, yung mga taong na kuryente, lalo kung talagang mataas or 'di ba, even yung mga namatay, tama yung na-observe ni Ma'am and Sir sa skin nila, pero sa mga daliri or minsan sa yung sa paa natin, 'di ba? Yung sa paa natin, minsan nangingitim 'yan. Saka minsan may mga butas 'yan na maliliit. Kasi po, 'di ba sabi ko sa inyo, electricity is the flow of electrons, flow or pagdaloy. Pag once nakuryente ang isang tao, hahanap yan. Yung electrons, hahanap yan ng lalabasan or kung saan siya magre-release or hahanap ng direction. Mostly, sa mga nakukuryente, yung kamay, nangingitim or may burn because of the flow of electrons na kailangan nilang hahanap sila ng outlet just to flow. Okay? Since we're talking about electricity, ito yung mini-min ko. This is what we call, we have two types of electricity. We have the static. Diba? When we say static, to define it, it means fixed or stationary. Iba siya sa dynamic, which is moving electricity. Kasi ang electricity, we have two kinds, static and dynamic, in which are in the form of electric currents. So meaning to say, yung nangyari sa akin is yung kamay ko is an imbalance of electric charge on a surface of a material. Halimbawa, yung doorknob is negative. Yung kamay ko is positive. Pag once na kasi factors kasi malalaman niyo ang temperature pala factors ng pag-flow ng electricity. So kapag pag nahawakan ko yung doorknob, magkakaroon ng transfer of electrons or movement. So ang tendency, magsashock ako because there is an imbalance atom in my body that needs to release an electron para makalipat sa isang another particle or another object. So that is what we mean by static. Are you familiar class with plasma ball? Based on the picture? Nakakita na po ba kayo nito or naka-experience gamitin? Usually ginagamit siya sa mga sci-fi movies or sa mga pelikula. Have you seen this one, class? Or sa mga you can observe this sa mga museum, sa mga science museum. Classes?
Yan po ba yung
Yes
yan
po.
po ba, sir, yung pag hinawakan mo, tatayo yung buhok mo?
Yan. Yeah.
Yan po.
May tawag yan, bandy graph. Pero iba to. It's a type na parang kuan din siya, parang static. In other terms, ang tawag yung static ball. Yung plasma class, 'di ba nakikita niyo may mga ilaw? 'Di ba? Parang may nag-release ng light, nag-emit ng light. Pag once tinutok mo yung kamay mo diyan or yung finger or the tip of your finger, yung ilaw susunod sa'yo. Okay. Ang plasma ball is a good example of explaining static electricity. Yung isa naman, tama ba? Yung static ball naman, class, kapag once na hinawakan mo, tatayo yung buhok mo because hahanap siya ng flow of electrons and hindi naman ganun ka malakas yung charge niya. So this is a good example of static electricity. Okay? So okay. Look at the next picture. This is a simple electric circuit. Okay. Kung titingnan nyo, yung bulb hindi pa umiilaw. Because, what do you call this part? Class. This is a schematic symbol of what? Are you familiar with this?
Switch.
Okay, switch. In electricity and electronics, dapat, tama po, switch siya. Dapat, familiar po kayo sa mga schematic symbols. Okay? Because you will encounter, kaya di ba pinapagawa ko kayo ng schematic, circuit, or wiring diagram, orthographic, and then, tawag dito, perspective, or the actual drawing of or image of the object. Kasi sa electronics and electrical, in order to understand the lingo or the language, dapat familiar kayo, kabisaduhin ninyo yung mga electronics and electrical schematic symbols. Ito, class, itong part na to, yung bulb, these are pictorial diagrams. So this part, class, naka-schematic symbol siya. And this is a standard symbol for switch. Okay? Since we're talking about a simple circuit, may dalawang klase ang circuit na naman in connection to this one. We have open circuit. Pag open circuit, hindi pa makakapag-flow yung electrons. In other words, naka-off yung switch niya. Okay? Pag once na kinonect siya, ito ang tinatawag nating closed circuit. So, magkakaroon na siya ng flow of electrons. Diba? If you can still remember, yung type of electricity flow natin, from negative to positive, anong tawag? Class? Memory gap agad.
Conventional current, sir.
Are you
Negative to positive.
Are you sure? Negative to positive? Sir Marlon?
Pag positive to negative, sir, is... tama. Tama, sir.
Okay, positive to negative is what type of current flow?
Conventional.
Okay, conventional. And the other one is electron current flow. Because we're talking about closed circuit, kapag naka-on yung switch, okay, magkakaroon na siya ng flow of current. Okay? So, yan ang tinatawag naman nating dynamic electricity. Diba? Pag static, fixed, or stationary. If there is a flow of current, diba? Pag once switch is turned on in a circuit, it will automatically move, or the electrons will automatically move or flow. And that is what we call dynamic electricity. Okay? So, when we say dynamic, it's the steady flow of electrons between places and things. The flow of electric charges through a conductor. So, in other words, there is an electric current. May tinatawag tayo, class, na ISU. or the International System of Units. Ang charge or the flow of electric charge, minimeasure siya by means of columns. Kung babalikan ninyo, kung ginawa niyo yung aking assignment, you will encounter this Mr. Charles Agustus column. Okay. Kasi lahat ng quantity of charge, meron siyang value. Ang electric charge po, measured in columns, ang symbol niya is C, and the current in columns per second. It's a unit that is called ampere. Later on, pag-aaralan natin yung fundamental quantities of charge, which is abbreviated as capital A. A current of 1 ampere means that by the cross-sectional area of the conductor flows 1 coulomb per every second. Para maintindihan, ito po yun. Let's say, this is the flow of a conductor or this is a wire. Itong orange na to. And this 3 circles represents electron. So, ang ibig sabihin, in a dynamic electricity, ang flow of electrons can be measured in columns. So, and each electron is equivalent to 1 ampere. So 1 ampere, okay, is equivalent to 1 coulomb. Ito itong naka-dark blue, this is an electron. So kapag pumasok na yung electron sa loob ng wire, ang 1 ampere niya, ito, is equivalent to 1 coulombs per second. So, if we're going to express that in scientific notation, ang flow of electrons in a circuit or path is inaabot ng, in other reference, 6.25 or 6.28 times 10 raised to 18 power. That's the flow of electricity in a conductor, coulombs per second. Then siya medyo technical tayo, scientific. Kailangan natin pag-aralan even the flow of electrons. So, ganito ginagawa namin sa electricity and electronics. Okay? So, since na-mention ko yung conductors, may tinatawag tayong materials sa electricity and electronics. Actually, dalawa yan. Pero, pagdating sa electronics, may isa pa tayong material na tinatawag din. So, when we say conductors, these are materials or substance na inaalaw or permit electrons to flow freely from one particle to another. Okay? The electrons in a conductor freely move from atom to atom when the potential difference is applied across them. The conductivity of the conductor depends on the number of free electrons. Okay? Pag sinabi natin conductivity, ito yung pagdaloy or pag-move ng electrons ng malaya or freely sa isang atom to another atom kapag meron siyang voltage na applied. Nakadepende ang conductivity ng material sa number of electrons. Okay. So meaning to say, conductors or the conductivity of the material is directly proportional. Nakadepende ang pag-flow or pag-move ng electrons sa number ng electrons. Kaya it is directly, so meaning to say, the conductivity of the material or the conductor is directly proportional to the number of free electrons. Okay? Sige. Ito yung opposite ng conductor. So, a good example of conductor plus is we're talking about it is copper. If you will observe or notice, most of the wirings po or sa mga na ginagamit ay copper. Pero ang pinaka best conductor base sa aking nabasa in napag-aralan is silver and gold. Pero in terms of conductivity, hindi po sila nagkakalayuan ng copper. The only difference ng copper sa iba sa silver and gold, mas mura po siya. Pero pares din ang performance. Hindi lang po nagkakalayuan in terms of conductivity. Okay. Samantalang, ang insulator naman, ito yung kabaliktaran. It does not allow the electric current or heat to pass through its type of material. So, kung ang conductivity, yung electrons nakakapag-move freely. Dito, hindi po. The electrons or charges do not move freely. Okay? Ang conductivity refers to the movement of electrons freely. While dahil sa insulators, may tatawag tayo resistivity. Pag sinabing resistivity class, ito yung nagre-restricts, hinders, blocks, current. So, mataas po yung kanyang resistivity. Usually, matatagpuan yung insulators sa mga wires. Ito yung insulation or covering. Di ba? Yung cover ng wire is a good example. Actually, it's made up of rubber eh. It's a good example of insulators. And rubbers are good also examples of insulators. So that is the difference between conductors and insulators. Ulitin natin na conductors are substance or materials that permits or allows the flow of electrons in a circuit. While insulator naman class, on the other hand, parang it restricts the flow of current. Pero, meron tayong material class na pwedeng mag-act as a conductor or it could be also an insulator. Meron tayong tinatawag na semiconductors. Okay. When we say semiconductors, these are materials which have conductivity. Meron siyang conductivity either between conductors or generally metals and non-conductors or insulators, kagaya ng ceramics. Ito class ng mga sinasabi kong semiconductors, matatagpuan siya sa mga active components and matatagpuan siya sa mga solar panels. Kasi most of these components or electronics are made up of silicon. And silicon class or germanium are good examples of semiconductors. Okay, this can be pure elements such as silicon or germanium or compounds such as gallium arsenide or cadmium selenide. Sa semiconductor class, may tinatawag tayong doping. It's a process wherein the small amount of impurities are added to pure semiconductors, causing large changes in the conductivity of material. So, by putting small amount of materials to a certain semiconductor, mas high ang chance na magkaroon ng conductivity sa material. That's why, ang silicon ay ginagamit sa mga solar panel. Ang silicon kasi para siyang it's a material na kung hindi ka basta-basta makukuryente. Okay? Pero yung solar panel niya can accumulate charge. Okay? Ginagamit siya for, 'di ba? Kasi ang ina-accept or ina-accumulate ng kasi meron kasing perception na kapag sinabing solar, ang parang ang ina-accept or ina-accumulate ng solar panel is only light. It is not. Kasi ang ina-accumulate po ng solar panel is both heat and light. Okay? To be specific, ang meron sa solar or sa sun na energy na kailangan para tawag dito, para ma-accumulate ng solar panel, these are what we call photons. Okay? Photons is spelled as P-H-O-T-O-N-S. These are energy na can be converted into electricity. So that's how semiconductors differ from insulators and conductors. Okay? Since we're talking about conversion, ito naman sa field ng electronic. Di ba sinabi ko last time na ang electricity is a versatile form of energy when it converts one form of energy into another form. Meron tayong tinatawag sa electronics and even sa electricity, may tinatawag tayong transducers. Ito yung term na naman, transducers. Pag sinabi nating transducers, these are device or a machine that converts one energy into another form of energy. Ginagamit siya sa automation, measurement, and control systems. Kung saan, electric signals are converted to and from other type of physical quantities. So, We know transducer, it's a device that converts energy from one another, from one form to another. We have this term na tinatawag nating transduction. Okay? Transduction class is the process of converting one form of energy to another. To further understand kung anong ibig sabihin ng transducer, I'll give you two sets of picture and try to guess kung alin dito ang okay. So, we have these two types of transducers. The first one, sa may, tama ba? Left ko is the speaker. And the other one is a microphone. So, these two device are transducers because this device converts speaker to sound, sound to speaker. Medyo nakakalito ano? Plus, try to guess. Based on the two pictures, alin po dito ang nagko-convert ng electric signal to sound and the other one naman is sound to electric signal? Would like to guess? Class, are you still there? Can you still follow?
Sir, guess lang po. Yung mic po yung sound to electric signal, then yung speaker po yung 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 electrical to sound.
Okay, sige. Correct? Tama po. So, these two are transducers because yung speaker po converts electric signal to sound. Kasi, para maintindihan, halimbawa, yung source of sound mo is computer. Ang computer po sa loob, meron siyang electricity, right? Or meron siyang electric signals. The signals or the sound sa isang software, papunta sa hardware. Okay? Papunta siya sa jack. Kasi yung electric signals, dadaan siya sa jack and pupunta siya sa speaker. So in other words, the sound is, in order to produce sound, kailangan ng electric signal sa certain source bago siya maging sound. Samantala, okay, ang microphone class, di ba kakanta ka, aawit ka, awit sa'yo loads, kakanta ka, tapos yung boses mo, magpuproduce ng sound, right? Yung sound na na-produce, i-convert siya ngayon para maging electric signals, para maging sound. Okay? So, ganyan ang concept ng transducers. Kaya, in some instances, malilito kayo. Even sa mga, if I can still remember, lumabas to sa LET exam, pinapa-identify a device that converts electric signal to sound. So, malilito ka talaga kung microphone, kung speaker, kung what type of machine or device ang mini-mini to. So, another example. Okay. These two machines or device converts energy, two forms of energy, mechanical to electrical. So, out of these two picture class, kindly guess, alin dito ang nagko-convert ng mechanical to electrical energy and yung isa naman, electrical to mechanical? Who would like to guess?
Guess po. Yung ito po atang orange, if I'm not mistaken, it's a generator.
Correct?
So it's mechanical to electrical. Yung blue hindi ko po familiar. Yun lang.
Okay, sorry, thank you. I forgot to mention. Yung dalawang object pala class na nandito is generator and motor. Kasi sa engineering courses subject, sa technology also, nagkakaroon ng kalituhan. Alin ba dito yung nagko-convert ng mechanical to electrical and electrical to mechanical? So, si Ma'am Glaze ba yun? Ma'am Glaze? Ano po yung sagot natin?
Yes, sir.
Sige po.
Bali po dun sa generator, mechanical to electrical. Tapos siguro ito pong yung blue electrical to mechanical.
Sige. Let's see. So, tama. So, yung generator class is mechanical into electrical. So yung transducer na nagko-converts, 'di ba? Yung ginagamit natin pag wala tayong kuryente. Yung motor naman, on the other hand, electrical to mechanical. So ito yung transducers na pinag-aaralan sa electricity and electronics. Okay? So I think we're done with the first topic unless you have what do you call this? Teka lang ano? Nagkakaroon na naman ng problem yung internet natin. Ay, yung aking teka lang, Control Alt as manager. So class, do you have questions or clarifications about the topics that I presented concerning about the nature and concepts, as well as the two types of electricity and the transducers? Class, are you still with me?
Yes, sir. None so far.
How about the rest? Is it clear to you? Do you have any questions or
Yes, sir.
clarifications? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll be declaring a health break muna. Okay, I'll be tawag dito. Teka lang. I'll um, uh, I'll be giving you at least 10-minute health break. You can take your snacks, go to your bathroom or CR, or relax a bit for the next topic and activity. So class, you can kwan muna, rest mode muna in just 10 minutes. Okay? Sige po. Health break muna tayo. Okay, class. Now we're back, and I hope you are still there for our next part of our lesson activity for this course. Actually, our next topic uh, is about the quantities of charge. Let's get to know more about this. Okay. So I'm going to share you another material, and please confirm if you can access or if you can see what's on this on your screen. Okay, share screen ko lang. By the way, am I still audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes
sir.
po.
Okay, thank you. So, the window. So I said our next topic for this afternoon is all about the quantities of charge. So before we proceed in identifying these fundamental charges or electric charge, I have a simple activity. Okay? Sige. So try to look at this picture. By the way, please confirm if you can see what's on the picture.
Yes po, visible, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sir Marlon. How about the rest?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Visible, sir.
Okay. Since you confirm, what can you see in the picture?
Flow of water, sir.
Flow of water flow of water. What else? What are the things that you observe? Gas? Hello? Yes, you're recognized. You can unmute your audio.
Stones po, tapos sa
Hmm.
bundok, sir.
Okay, sige. What else? How about the rest? Okay. So, since you already recognize what's in the picture, this has something to do with our topic for this afternoon. Okay. By the way, are you familiar with the quantities of charge? Anyone who can give me the answer, or um, tell us first, what are the fundamental quantities of charge in electricity and electronics? Anybody would like to recite? Yes, are you still with me?
A few moments later.
Voltage, current, and resistance.
Yes, Ma'am Glaze. Medyo may na yung boses mo.
Ay, ano po, voltage, current, and resistance.
Okay, correct. So, the fundamental quantities of charge for electricity and electronics, we have voltage, current, and resistance. Okay. Hypothetically, since hindi pa namang, some of you are not familiar, okay, parang new to this charges, can you guess? Kuha nyo lang, hulaan nyo lang. Can you guess, based from the picture, can you please identify the voltage, current, and resistance, and tell us why?
Sir, pwede po. Ayan. For me po, yung voltage, yun po yung lakas ng flow. And then yung current po is yung mismong flow ng water. And then yung resistance is yung mga stones.
Okay. So, madam, you are correct po. You got it right. So, sabi ni ma'am, yung voltage po yung pressure or yung current mismo. Hindi siya current kasi may tinatawag tayong water current. Ito yung force na that lets the water flow sa river. Okay? Yung river mismo or yung tubig, that is the current. Okay? And then yung stones na yung mga stones, siya po yung pwedeng natumbang kahoy or log. These are what we call resistance. Ma'am Glaze, if you don't mind, bakit sa tingin mo ito po yung mga quantities of charge based on my example? Ma'am Glaze?
Ano po, kasi po parang siya yung nagde-describe dun sa charge.
Mhm. Bakit mo nasabi na yung pressure ng tubig, ito yung voltage? Yung tubig mismo sa river is current, and yung mga bato, sila ang nagsisilbing resistance. Ano yung pagkakaintindi mo? Bakit sa pagkakaintindi mo, ma'am?
Kasi po, ay yung nabasa ko kasi, ang voltage, ano siya, is a specific measure of potential energy that is always relative between 2 points. So it is a force motivating charge carries to flow, while the current is a continuous movement of electric charge through the conductors of a circuit, and while the resistance is the degree of friction or opposition to the motion.
Oh,
So
shit.
yung mga bato po yung parang nag-o-opposite, parang naghihindran siya dun sa continuous ng flow ng water.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So let us now proceed. At least may idea na po kayo kung ano ba ang meaning ng mga units or quantities ng charge sa atin, or what we call electric charges. As I've said, bago kayo mag-troubleshoot, bago kayo mag-build ng electronics project or mag-perform ng laboratory, dapat alamin nyo muna kung ano ang electricity, the fundamentals, the basics. Ano itong kasi later on, pag-aaralan din nyo to sa Ohm's Law, sa pag-solve ng mga problems, or may word problem, may mga mathematical problem, even math, higher math, pinag-aaralan namin sa electronics. That's why meron kaming, I think, first year parang may calculus na subject na kami. And may mga other difficult subjects, pero challenging siya as an electronics student. So thank you, ma'am, for sharing your idea. And since alam na po natin kumbaga base sa explanation ni ma'am, and malalaman nyo na kung ano ang pinagkaiba ng tatlong charges. Yung isa, pressure daw, diba? Which is the voltage. Yung isa naman, ito yung pagdaloy or the rate or simply the flow of electric charge. Kaya kung babalikan natin, ang meaning ng electricity is the flow of electrons. Diba? And that is the current. Okay? And yung parang tawag dito, yung parang yung isang charge naman, siya yung parang mahigpit, or because pinaharangan niya, binablock niya yung pagdaloy ng tubig. And ito yung tinatawag po nating resistance. Okay. So, let's take a look for another picture and try to guess kung alin po dito yung fundamental charges. Who would like to answer? May I invite everyone or anybody from this group who would like to tell us what is and can identify the fundamental charges based from the picture or image. May tao pa ba dito? Hello class, are you still with me?
Sir. Ako po ulit, sir.
Okay, sige ma'am.
Try ko po lang. Ang voltage is yung power na nanggagaling dun sa babaeng nagbabike, and then yung current is yung speed, yung parang yung speed ng babae habang nagbabike, then yung resistance is yung road, ayun po, na may affect dun sa speed, yung sa speed ng bike.
Okay.
Yun po.
Sige. So, may also entertain the rest or the some of your classmates who can also give us their interpretation. Okay. Kung alin dito yung voltage and current and resistance base sa babaeng bibisikleta. Okay din yung sinabi ni ma'am, pero parang may mali doon isang part. Wants to try?
Sir, guess lang po.
Sige po, Sir Marlon. Okay po.
I think po yung voltage, sir, yung mismong sa pagpadyak ng babae.
Mhm.
Yung current naman po, yung flow nung sa gulong, sir.
Mhm.
And then yung resistance niya is yung road po.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Sir Marlon. You got it right also. Kasi yung speed kasi ma'am can be also part of a force. Okay? Or pressure. Kasama na yung speed doon. Pero pag binimi natin yung sige, I'll give you the answer. I'll show you the answer first. So, ang answer dito, actually, maraming pwedeng gamitin na sagot dito. So, tama yung sinabi ni Ma'am and Sir Marlon na yung babae or yung pagpadyak mismo ng paa, galing sa paa ng babae, ito yung force. Right? Ito yung force. Ito yung sinasabi nating voltage. Siya nag-force para ma-move or maggumalaw sila together with the bike sa kanilang dinadaanan. Yung current mismo, ito yung sinasabi ni Sir Marlon. Ito yung gulong. The current, ito yung dahil sa pagpadyak ng babae because of the voltage, iikot yung gulong. Diba? Kaya ang definition diba ng current is the rate of electrons or the flow of electrons. So, consider natin yung gulong as electrons. That's why it is current. Right? Ang resistance naman po, tamang observation din, na yung road mismo, yung parang because of friction baga, siya yung parang nagko-control din ng pagbisikleta. Kasi hinaharangan din niya eh. Kasi may tinatawag tayong friction or force. Nagli-restrict sa kanya. Kasi kung wala yan, diba? Mabilis yung pag-ikot ng gulong. Since may humaharang sa kanya, parang control pa rin yung pagbisikleta. Pero, aside from that, if you will notice class, lagi tayong may activity because I want you to think critically. Okay? Para ma-exercise, ma-stimulate yung brains ninyo, and para maintindihan nyo in-depth kung ano ba yung topic natin. Who has another answer? Maliban sa binigay kong example, can you please give another example? Can you please give base pa rin sa same picture kung alin dito ang voltage, current, and resistance? Ano bang pwede nating maging ibang alternative maliban sa ganito, maliban sa ganyan? What's another idea to represent based from the picture voltage, current, and resistance? Anyone? Class, are you still with me? Ano bang pwedeng maging alternative for resistance? Yes, you are recognized?
Sir, parang yung based lang sa understanding ko, yung friction sa gulong tapos sa road.
Okay. It was mentioned na po, ma'am. Pero ano pa? Sa tingin mo? Ano bang pwedeng maging resistance natin dyan base sa picture? Maliban sa gulong, maliban sa ang gulong pwede din maging resistance siya. Pero ano pa? Maliban sa roads or sa dimension mo, ma'am? For anyone? Yes, you are recognized. What is it?
Guess lang po, sir. Possible na maging alternative, sir, yung pedal mismo.
Okay, pwede. What else?
Kung medyo matigas or...
Depende din sa dinadaanan mo. Kung terrain or flat ang surface. Okay, what else? Para may kulang kayong
Ah,
parts. Sige po.
weight. Yung weight po, pwede siya sa resistance.
Okay, it could be also a factor. Okay, ano pa? Kasi depende. Yes, exactly. Yun ang minimi natin, yung brake. Brake is, di ba, pag once na na-brake siya, di ba, mahihinto yung pagdaloy or pag flow ng current. Okay? So, these examples, maintindihan nyo na kung anong pinagkaiba ng voltage, current, and resistance as the fundamental charges both in electricity and electronics. Sige. So, let's proceed to the next slide. Ngayon, mas clear na yung picture. Diba? Ngayon, last picture na to, try to guess. Alin naman dito ulit yung voltage, yung current, and resistance. Can you guess? Mas-simplify na to, ha?
A few moments later.
Yes, ma'am, you are recognized. Or yes po.
Sige po. Bali po, ang guess ko is yung voltage is yung nasa loob na tubig. Then, yung resistance is yung, ito po, yung maliit, parang nasa, ano ba yun, spout. Yung maliit po na nilalabasan. Then, yung current po is yung lumalabas na tubig na.
Okay, sige. Tama yung dalawa, ma'am. Pero, may mali ka doon na isa. Try to take a closer look of the picture. Ano pa yung mga factors natin na hindi nyo nakikita? Na ito pala yung mini-mini, sir. Or meaning ng tatlong charges. Tama yung dalawa mo, ma'am. Pero isa doon, parang may hihintay pa akong isang part. Who wants to try? Again. Yes?
Yung ano po, yung voltage po, yung pressure mismo ng water, and yung resistance, yung hole mismo, kung maliit or malaki, depende yung, doon dumedepende yung pressure ng water. And yung flow naman po, yun yung ano, yung current, yung flow ng water
Okay.
sa labas.
Sige. Pero, iba din. May isa din akong hinahanap na kulang. Tama yung dalawa, same with ma'am, pero saan pa galing yung pressure? Ano ba yung factor? Yes?
Gravitational force po.
So, saan doon ang minimin nating voltage? Kung gravitational ang factor ang mini-mention mo. Think outside the box, ha. Try to look, glimpse at the picture. Observe nyo mabuti. May kulang kayo dyan, hindi nyo na-mention. Ito yung kulang na part. Tama yung dalawa nyo actually. Yes?
Bali po yung white na part, yung parang space. Doon po ata nanggagaling yung pressure, which is the voltage. Then yung current, yung sa may water, yung paggalaw. Then yung sa resistance po, yun nga po yung kanina kong sinabi na yung maliit na parang faucet.
Okay. Pwede. Who else? Pero hindi pa rin. Kulang pa. Kulang na lang kayo ng isa. Aandar na tayo. Malarga na kita. Who else? Who wants to try? Ano bang pwedeng factor para masabi natin yung pressure is tawag dito para ma-determine natin yung pressure na magiging siyang voltage. Look at the yung splash ng tubig. So ano nakadepende yan, di ba? Sa splash ng tubig. kung malakas or mahina yung flash. Ano yung factor para yung splash niya talagang spread out, tapos may certain flash naman ng tubig na mahina. Anong factor ang kailangan? Sabi niyo, pre, anong nakakapag-trigger? Parang may hindi pa kayo nakikita dyan na kulang. How about the rest? May I hear some other voices po? Who wants to try? Don't worry po. We will entertain your ideas po. Okay? Ma'am, sir? Yes po. You are recognized?
Yung force, sir,
Yes po.
force ng pag-open ng sa faucet kung mahina or yung kung ano, malakas.
Hmm. Pwede naman, ma'am. Kaso, kung titingnan mo yung spout or yung, diba, yung tube niya na sinabi ni Ma'am Grace kanina, open na open siya. Right? Pero paano natin? Di ba, may tama yung factor niyo yung pressure. Saan ba yung pinagagalingan ng pressure niya? So, anong factor ang anong part dyan ang parang naging dahilan kung bakit ganito yung pressure niya? Di ba? Or paano nyo papahinain yung pressure? Pero wag nyo lang i-consider yung spout, ha? At least na siya, fix na siya. Yung laman ng tubig, yung spout na galing sa labas, at least na po yan. Nag-gets yun ako anong ibig sabihin ng resistance and then yung current. Pero look at the pressure na nilalabas. Saan kaya galing? Anong factor niya? Parang meron kayo nakikita na hindi nyo binibigyan ng pansin. Yes? What is it po?
Another guess po. Siguro sir yung height ng ng pump ba to, sir? Container.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Jonel. Okay. Yun po ang hinahanap natin. So, base sagot ni Sir Jonel, ni Ma'am, nila Ma'am Maika and the rest, tama din po yun. Na, okay. So, let us show the answer. So, tama yung sinabi ninyo. Okay? Ito yung resistance, ito yung current mismo. Okay. Diba ito yung tubig? Okay. Yung spout niya or yung faucet niya, siya yung nag-restricts ng pagdaloy ng tubig. Kaya tinawag di ba siyang flow of electrons or flow of water of electrons because of the current. Itong sa baba, if you notice, meron siyang splash. So, halimbawa, kuha kayo ng mineral tubig or i-try nyo siya ulaonin do. I-release nyo sa tubig, di ba? Pag mababa, ang splash na, may kuwan lang po baga, mahina lang. Pero habang papataas siya, 'di ba? Mas lumalakas yung splash. So factor po yung height, 'di ba? Or lalagyan ng container. Yan tinatawag nating voltage or pressure ng quantities of charge. Okay? So yan po ang minimin natin ng fundamental quantities of charge. So let us now define each of these three fundamental charges. Okay? So, we have voltage, current, and resistance. Okay? So, next slide. So, voltage, huwag niyong kakalimutan po ang symbol ng voltage kasi pagdating sa Ohm's law or sa problems natin sa computation, dapat familiar kayo sa mga symbol ng kada charges. Ulitin ko, madali lang to. Ang voltage, di ba? Capital B or B ang symbol niya. Ito yung sinasabi nating difference. Yung height niya, class, factor yun. Pag mababa yung height niya, lower ang pressure niya or ang nilalabas na kasi limited lang yung kanya yung flow of current. Pag mataas yung voltage ay mataas yung height ng lalagyan ng container, malakas yung pressure niya. Okay? So, this is the difference in the electric potential between 2 points. So, ang other term for voltage class, tinatawag siyang, ang symbol kasi sa ibang libro, sa ibang references po, is B or E. E is for, another term for voltage is electrical pressure or electromotive force. Or, pwede din siyang potential difference. Ito yung mga terms na pwedeng, or other terms, synonymous to voltage. So another definition niya is the pressure from an electrical circuit's power source that pushes. So sa madaling sabi, ang voltage is pressure that pushes the electrons to flow in a circuit or in a wire. That's the simplest definition. And ang quantities of charge can be measured or may standard unit siya. So ang voltage po can be measured in volts. Kaya sa isang Ohm's law problem, kapag hinahanap ang voltage and once nakuha nyo yung value, dapat lagyan nyo siya ng unit or symbol. So let's say 5 volts, 12 volts. Let's say ang sagot is 5 or 12. Lagyan nyo siya ng B or small b, which is means volts. And another trivia class, itong fundamental of quantities of charge, meron itong pinagalingan, pinagugutan. Okay? Ito ay nailaan or naibigay sa mga scientists or physicists or inventors. Okay? For example, voltage, galing yan sa isang physicist, Italian physicist, Alessandro Volta. Si Alessandro Volta, siya po yung kauna-unahang gumawa ng chemical battery, which is known as voltaic cell. Okay? Siya yung the first Italian physicist invented the first chemical battery, which is the voltaic cell. Okay? And yung, as I've said, voltage is also known as electrical pressure, potential difference, and electromotive force. Okay? So, current naman, kung ang voltage, ang symbol niya is V or victory, ang current naman is I. I po ang symbol niya. When we say current, this is a stream of charged particles such as electrons or ions moving or flowing through an electrical conductor or space. So, sa madaling sabi, current is the flow of electrons or the rate at which charge flows past a point on a circuit. Kung ang voltage can be measured in volts or B, ito naman si current can be measured in amperes. So, pwede niyong gamitin amps, amperes, or capital A. During the Ohm's law formula or problem or mathematical problem. It also named from French scientist named André Marie Ampere. Okay? So, ang current is the rate at which electrons flow in a conductor or path. Yan ang meaning ng current niya. So, another quantity of charge is resistance. Okay? Resistance naman is the opposition. Kumbaga sa pelikula, ito yung antagonist or kontrabida lagi. Itong voltage and current, kumbaga ito yung love affair. Ito yung parang magka-love team. Pero itong resistance na to, itong parang kontrabida. Ito yung nagiging sagabal. So, resistance class is the opposition or a fundamental of charge that restricts or limits or hinders the flow of current or electric current. Ang ID ba, ang current ba can be measured in terms of units niya is ampere. Ang voltage naman is volts. Ang resistance naman siya can be measured in ohms. Kumbaga, ang unit of measure niya is ohms or ginagamitan natin ng Greek letter na omega. Pero ito po yung symbol niya. Okay? Kaya huwag nyo kakalimutan yung value. Very important po yung value kapag meron tayong Ohm's law problem and nag-compute kayo ng value ng resistance, voltage, and current. Lalo na yung resistance it's either you're going to use ohms, omega, okay, or the Greek symbol or the Greek letter omega. Ohms are named after George Simon Ohm. Siya yung dahilan. Ito very legendary to sa electricity and electronics. Siya yung dahilan kung bakit meron tayong voltage, current, resistance. Actually, he's also a teacher, a mathematician, a physicist who studied the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. So, if we're going to look Kasi pagdating sa Ohm's law, ito yung usually diagram na pinapakita. Okay. This is a schematic diagram. So pag sinasabi nating voltage, this is a schematic symbol of a battery. Okay? Ganyan ang schematic symbol. Kasi sa totoo lang, class, sa electronics and electricity, there are thousands of electronics and electrical schematic symbols na kailangan yung abisaduhin or mapamiliarize. Lalo na kapag gagawa kayo ng project, syempre magde-design kayo, magle-layout kayo, or going to adapt a certain schematic diagram and even in troubleshooting. Diba? Kasi ang diagram po, para maintindihan kung anong ibig kong sabihin, halimbawa, bibili kayo ng bagong TV. And syempre, bago yung design, bago yung model, may mga features siya na hindi kayo familiar. So para malaman ninyo or maintindihan ninyo kung paano siya gamitin and even the safety practices na kailangan i-consider to use that device and also on your part, dapat meron siyang manual. Right? So yung manual class, para siyang diagram. Na kapag may problema yung isang device ninyo, hahanapin nyo kung anong section, anong circuit ang merong problema. So, if you know the diagram, if you know the circuitry or the circuits on it, madaling ma-troubleshoot, madaling ayusin. That's how important as an electronics and electrical technology students, you should be familiar, be acquainted on the different diagrams. Meron tayong schematic, meron tayong PCB layout, we also have component layout. The other thing is, block diagram. And sometimes algorithms kapag complex na or higher level of electronics na pinag-aaralan. So this is a representation. Okay, if you will observe, these are graphic abstract symbols. And ito naman na may R, this is resistance, right? Ito yung schematic symbol niya. I is the flow of current. Ito yung flow of current niya or the direction na matatagpuan sa wire or conductor. Okay? Since we're talking about resistance, I have a question, class, before we proceed with this topic. I hope it's okay with you. Di ba sabi ninyo kanina, naalala ko to nakalimutan lang natin pag-usapan. Di ba, if you can still remember last meeting, tinanong ko kayo. Sabi ninyo, ang outlet natin is 220 volts, right? In other countries, let's say in Europe, it's 230, if I'm not mistaken. Sa Asia or in Japan, mas mababa yung voltage. Pero 110, 220, 230, these are fatal. This can cause you death once you, di ba, expose or makakahawak ka ng kuryente. But why is it in most devices, in most appliances, in most gadgets, di ba, have you tried, nahawakan nyo na ba yung adapter nyo sa cellphone, yung tip niya? Di ba hindi kayo na kuryente? Have you experienced that? Pero it is not advisable na hawakan nyo yung tip ng adapter. Di ba minsan, pag nagmamadali kayo or may busy kayo, minsan nahawakan nyo yung tip ng adapter ng mobile phones ninyo or gadgets ninyo? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So, nakuryente ba kayo?
Sa akin, sir, hindi po.
How about the rest? Thank you, Sir Marlon, for sharing. Who else? Have you experienced po? Yes, ma.
Sometimes po, konting ground.
Konting ground, could be. Kung sensitive yung skin. But hindi ka naman nakuryente, right? Nang grabe.
Yes.
Bakit kaya? Have you ever think of it? Or wala lang kayo siguro kasi, kung sa bagay, bako man ako electricity and electronics. Bala ka mo dyan. Pero, did it ever cross sa isipan ninyo na bakit kaya, sabi ni sir, pag 220, makukuryente kami. But bakit tinawakan nyo? Di ba yung tip ng adapter, metal din yun. So, it's a good conductor of electricity. But how come Sir Kenji, sabi niya, makukuryente kami, pero hindi naman. Bakit ganun, class? Do you have any idea? Tao po? Diyan pa ba kayo? Saglit na lang po to, class. Matatapos din tayo. May arouse natin to. Pero, yun sana, ganyan kasi sa klase ko. I'm really into, kailangan kasi interactive yung approach sa klase. Yes, anybody from this group was an idea who would like to share? Kahit guess lang. Or opinion nila.
Sir, guess ko lang po.
Sige po, Sir Marlon. Go ahead po.
Kasi po yung especially example po dito sa charger natin sa cellphone, yung yung isinasaksak po natin, sir, sa cellphone natin yung charger, yung dulo po niya. Kapag hinawakan mo, 'di ba close pa po siya. Ibig sabihin, wala pa po siyang ang flow ng current. Para sa akin lang po. Tapos pag isinaksak mo na siya, sir, may mga po kasi ito may mga naka-usli na konti na kung saan kapag nakasakto siya doon dito mismo sa cellphone, doon na po nagsisimula yung flow ng current. Yun lang, sir, yung observation po.
Actually, Sir Marlon, good observation po. Na sabi mo, kapag hindi pa siya nakakonect sa 'di ba sa ilalim or sa connector ng cellphone, hindi siya magkakaroon ng flow. Pero 'di ba Sir Marlon, yung katawan natin, our body itself is a conductor of electricity. 'Di ba?
Yes po.
So there's a possibility na pwede kang makuryente or magkaroon ng flow. Kasi pag hinawakan mo 'yan, the metal part of the adapter is a conductor. In our body, especially our hands, while touching it, is also a conductor. What's another guess? Lalim ah. How about the rest? I always hear same people. I know the thoughts or the rest. Take note ha. If I conduct SIG meeting, I'm very particular sa attendance. Tine-check ko kung sino po andito. And the second time, I'm also conducting a recitation. Okay po? So please, kahit pa paano participate po tayo. Kasi mabobore lang kayo dyan kakarinig, kakadada ko dito. Maboboring lang kayo sa akin. Why not participate? Anybody from the rest who would like to was another idea? Okay lang po. Just share your open naman po tayo dito sa TLE 210 class. Hello. Pagalawin niyo na po ang baso.
Yes po, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Do you want to share something in connection to my question or query?
Sir, pardon po.
Should I repeat the question?
Yes po, sir.
Sige. Ito po yung situation. Sabi ko last meeting at ito yung na-discuss natin last time pero hindi na pag-usapan. 'Di ba yung source natin or yung outlet natin merong 220 volts. So pag sinabi nating 220 AC volts, ito yung magkaka-cause ng death once expose yung tao. 'Di ba? Ito yung nagkakosto ng kuryente, 'di ba, sa ating katawan. But why is it sa mga adapter ng ating cellphones or other devices, pag hinahawakan, 'di ba? If you experience it, ma'am, nahawakan mo yung tip ng adapter, hindi ka na kuryente. Since ang katawan natin, kuha naman, 'di ba? Also a conductor. But why is it hindi tayo na kuryente? Did you get my kwan, ma'am? Can you follow?
Yes po, sir.
Sige, ma'am. Ano po yung inyong insight or point of view about it?
Sir, can you give me a minute po?
Sige. Mga ilang days, ma'am?
Mga next joke. Wait lang po, sir.
Sige. While waiting kay ma'am, who wants to share? Sige po. Sige po. You are recognized. Please unmute your audio.
So yung question, sir, bakit hindi tayo nakakuryente using the adapter?
Yes po, sir.
Okay po. Kasi kaya nga po tinatawag na adapter Kasi yung mga appliance, yung mga devices natin, hindi siya actually 220 volts, less than 220, mga 5 volts kung sa laptop, 14. And yung adapter natin, sa loob niyan merong resistors na parang kinokontrol niya yung flow ng current or binabawasan papunta dun sa device. So kung hahawakan mo yung dulo ng charger or yung anong tawag dyan, male socket ng charger papunta dun sa female socket ng device. So wala talagang hindi talaga siya mag-cause ng electrocution kasi less than 220 naman yung pumapasok dun sa dulo ng charger.
Okay.
That's
Okay, thank you, Sir Junel. Nakailang jacket ka na. You got it right again po. Okay. Okay. So, sa madaling sabi, class, kaya nga kayo nag-aaral ng electronics. Kasi ang electronics, meron siyang mga components. Okay? Kasi, tama yung sinabi ni Sir Junel. Diba yung outlet natin, yung saksakan natin, 220 yan, diba? Papasok dun yung kuryente. And have you tried to open the adapter? Have you seen what's inside? Class, have you seen kung ano bang meron sa adapter? Nakakita na po ba kayo? Or sa mga app? Yes?
Yes na po, sir.
Po. Ano man nakita ninyo? Kung if you see what's on the adapter, ano mga nakita nyo mga object doon? Hello? So, if you observe what's inside the adapter, meron siyang mga parang itsura niya, ba? Parang iba-ibang shapes. Parang mga candies. 'Di ba? May cylindrical shape, may barrel shape, may parang may nougat na candy. These are what we call components. Ito yung dahilan kung bakit hindi kayo nakukuryente. Because these components either control, restricts, decrease, or filters. Diba? So, kagaya ng resistors, as what mentioned by Sir Junel, we also have capacitors, inductors, small transformers. These components plays an important role in our electronic devices and appliances. Diba? Because from 220, ino-convert yan kasi ang 220 is an AC current or voltage. Kasi electronics may tinatawag tayong alternating current and direct current. Ang alternating current, ito yung para maintindihan in simplest term, ito yung kuryente na galing sa mga outlet natin, which is 220. And the flow of current is lagging if you're going to observe that in an oscilloscope. Ang oscilloscope, it's a device or an equipment used to troubleshoot or repair equipments. Equipments or appliances. Para maintindihan kung anong itsura ng oscilloscope, di ba sa mga hospital, pag nanonood kayo ng mga pelikula or if you visit or if you have a relative or if you visited someone in the hospital, may makikita kayong parang TV, naka-grid, tapos may nakikita kayong parang mga linya na parang parang signal. Nakikita na po ba 'yon? Have you observed kung anong nasa hospital? Yung parang, di ba pag buhay pa, parang may taas baba na wave? Hello? Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sa movies, sir.
Opo, di ba sa movies, pag buhay pa baga, parang may tawag doon, yung signal niya taas baba, parang resistor symbol. Tapos pag patay na yung, pag wala na yung tao, ay yung pasyente, ang makikita mong linya doon, isahan lang ba yung kwan. Parang ganun class ang oscilloscope. Kasi sa oscilloscope, makikita mo kung ilang ang voltahe ang meron ng appliance. Kasi kapag mababa yung voltahe na pinuproduce or galing sa isang source patungo sa appliance, there is a problem with your appliances. Kaya sa pag-ayos ng mga appliances, kagaya ng TV, kagaya ng electric fan, kagaya ng mga cooker or microwave, ginagamitan niya ng oscilloscope. Okay? Kung tama yung voltage or output na using the oscilloscope, ang flow ng electricity is sinusoidal or in a waveform wherein it goes up and down, back and forth. That is what we call alternating current. Samantalang, may tinatawag naman tayong direct current. Ang direct current naman class or DC is the flow of current in only one direction. Nasa isang linya lang siya. Okay? A good example of a direct current po is yung energy na galing sa battery. Okay? And ang tawag dito, ang alternating current po, it goes back in forth direction. Continuous po ang flow niya. Unlike sa battery, na one direction, and once na-consume po yung battery, mauubo siya, mawawalan na po siya ng source of energy. Kasi na-consume na po. So that is the distinction between AC to DC or alternating current versus direct current voltages. So since we're talking about voltages po, tama yung sinabi ni Mr. Ascutia. Yung 220 po, kino-convert yan. Pag less than 220 na siya, let's say 5 volts or 6 volts or 12, it is classified now as a direct current. Okay. Pag mababang voltahe na po, these are what we call lower DC voltages. Ulitin natin. Ang AC po is 220. Pag lower than 220, it could be 100 or sometimes nagiging siyang 24. Diba? Sabi ni Sir Junel, 14 daw yung volts karamihan sa mga adapter ng PC or sa laptop. Yung iba naman, di ba yung cellphone yung charger ng or adapter ng yung charger ninyo, ang ini-emit niya or output niya is 5 volts. Di ba? Ang 5 volts kasi hindi naman kayo makukuryente kasi mababa nga yung voltahe. So that's the good thing about components. Di ba? That's the good thing about components in electronics. Doon papasok yung resistance natin. Resistor is a fundamental component in electronics and electricity that restricts or limits the flow of current. Kasi karamihan ng mga appliances niyo, even sa adapter, marami siyang resistors. Kasi siya yung mga dahilan kung bakit yung 220 na babawasan. Yung iba, nare-regulate, yung iba, nako-convert, yung iba, nagfi-filter para maging siyang regulated 5 volts DC. So that's how magically nako-convert yung 220 to 5 volts by means of an electronic device or part of a device or an equipment or a tool or a gadget. Okay? That's how wonderful electronics is. Diba? Imagine mo 220 volts nagiging 5 volts lang because of the presence of the different component. Kaya hindi po kayo basta-basta makukuryente. Baka mamaya mag-practice ka mo ha. Baka basa ang kamot nindo. O sabi pala ni Sir Kenji, kaptan mi daw ito na adapter. So, di ba? Depende pa rin ha. Kasi, may instances na baka sira yung adapter nyo. Di ba? Let's say may binili kayong mga substandard. Kaya I don't encourage you class, kung bibili kayo ng mga devices or gadgets, I strongly advise you not to buy sa online stores na hindi naman kilala. Halimbawa, bibili kayo sa Lazada, bibili kayo sa sa Shopee. Hindi naman sa paninira, no? Kasi may mga kuan diyan, may binebenta diyan. Kaya ako nagabakal, hindi ako bumibili ng mga tools, equipment na galing sa mga sikat na online stores. Kasi ang iba po dyan, peke naman po or hindi talaga. So, dapat bili kayo sa mga reputable online stores. Okay? Kagaya sa RS Philippines. Kami, as electronic students, professors, faculty, engineers, dun kami bumibili. May mga company or website na talagang legit na nagbebenta sila ng kasi halimbawa, bibili ka ng multi-tester. Don't you know, ang multi-tester nako-clone na yan. Nabipeke na yan. Kagaya din ng mga sapatos, kagaya din ng mga branded clothes. Minsan, kinakopy din yan. Kaya ako, for security reasons or purposes, never ako bumibili ng mga items na mga pang-electronics sa online. Let's say nakahanap ka ng legit na bentahan ng mga electronic supplies or gadgets or devices. Ang problema naman is yung shipping. Diba? Let's say nasa abroad yung shinip mong material. Diba? So, yan ang risk. Diba? Now you're working with your project, right? Bibili kayo ng tawag dito, ng module and then yung other parts. Pwede naman siya. Pero kasi yung mga module, magaan lang naman siya eh. And then it is make sure yung bibilihan nyo legit din na talagang supplier sila ng mga electronic gadgets ay mga components na mga Arduino kasi yung bibili nyo is Arduino related yan eh, na infrared obstacle mode o sensor or module. Okay? So, going back, yan ang role ng resistance. Yeah, sometimes, tama ba? Maybe some of you are wondering, sabi ni sir, ang flow of electricity, ang meaning ng electricity is the flow of electrons, or what we call current. And current will not work without the force or energy that pushes the electrons to move. That's why we have voltage. Bakit sir may resistance? Bakit kailangan may harang or may obstacle? So doon na papasok yung electronic components kagaya ng resistors na meron siyang resistivity or current flow restriction. Okay? So since we're talking about factors that affect resistance, merong 4 kayong i-consider. Okay? First is the type of material. Second is the temperature. Third is the cross-sectional area. And the last one is the length of wire. So, dito, malalaman natin yung resistivity or capacity to resist or restricts the flow of current. Okay? First is the type of material. To an extent, lahat ng material resist current flow. Pero, mahati siya sa dalawa. This is what I discussed kanina. Yung conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. So, sa resistance, we need to determine the type of material that you're going to use. Meron tayong materials na merong low resistance that allows electrons to travel freely, and these are termed conductors. A good example are silver, copper, gold, and aluminum. In most wires, makikita nyo to. Wires made of silver, copper, gold, and aluminum. Ito yung ginagamit sa building or house wiring. In any other establishments na kinakailangan ng pagdadaluyan ng electricity. So, kung meron tayong low resistance material, meron naman tayong na counterpart, high resistance, that prevents electrons from flowing freely, and these are insulators. So, we have the rubber, paper, glass, wood, and plastic. These are good examples of insulators. Okay? Sige. Next slide.
Sir,
Yes po.
feeling ko po, nag-stop share po kayo kanina.
Sorry. Okay, let me check po. Thank you, Sir Marlon, for the observation. Sige. I-kuhaan ko muna to. Wait a minute. So, sige. Share window. How about this time, sir? Nakikita po ba?
Opo. Okay na, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. So, again, in terms of the type of material, meron tayong conductor. These are low resistance. Kumbaga, pag mababa yung resistance, ang tendency ng electrons, mabilis siyang dumaloy. Kaya, silver, copper, gold, kinagamit siya sa wiring. So, okay? Because these are good conductors. Yung insulator naman, ito yung covering ng mga wires. Because these are high resistance materials. Kaya hindi ka makukuryente basta. Kasi are protected or it's properly insulated. Because it prevents electrons to move freely. Okay? So, take a look at the picture. The next factor that affects the resistance is the length of wire. Now, class, my question is, based on the two pictures, alin po dito ang malakas yung resistance? Or mas increase ang resistance? Is it picture A or picture B? And tell us why. Can you still follow? Nakikita po ba yung nasa picture?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sige po. Who wants to guess? If you want to answer po, you can unmute the audio. You can click the raise hand icon and you are recognized po. Feel free to share your thoughts. Class, are you still with me? Who wants to answer? Hello? Look at the picture po. Yung isang picture, mahaba po yung wire. Yung the rest naman, maikli yung wire. So, based on the factor, alin dito yung malakas yung resistance? Is it picture A or picture B?
Yung A po.
Yes, ma'am. Recognize po.
Yung A po kasi mas mahaba yung wire.
Kumbaga, self-explanatory ma'am, no? Based on your observation. Okay. While yung letter B is mas mahina yung resistance. Sige. So, let us explain kung bakit yung A has higher resistance compared to yung picture A, mas increase yung resistance compared to picture B. So meaning to say, the length of a wire shows that the resistance is directly proportional to the length of the wire. So, the more na mahaba yung wire, mas mahaba daw yung resistance. That is the principle. So, the longer the wire or the conductor, mas increase po yung resistance. Kasi matatagalan yung pagdaloy kasi medyo mahaba yung wire natin. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Sige. Now, let us proceed to the cross-sectional area. Class, don't you know, na ang mga wire po may iba-iba ding thickness. Kanina, haba. Ngayon naman, kapal ng wire. So, try to look at the picture. We have picture A, a 3 mm wire. Yung isa naman, 6 mm wire. Question. Alin dito ang mas has stronger resistance? Is it A or B? Yes, you are recognized.
Letter B po, sir. Yung mas makapal na wire, 6 mm wire.
Yes, sir. Hindi ko po na-capture. Ano pong ibig sabihin?
Yung letter B po, sir, mas mataas yung resistance.
Bakit kaya?
Magbibigay na lang, sir, ng sample.
Sige.
Situation.
Sige.
Kung sa kuryente, sir, mas makapal yung ginagamit natin sa AC, yung mga connections sa wire. From, let's say, for example, from transformer to residential residence. Tapos, yung mga sa electronics naman, since gumagamit tayo ng mas maliit na voltage, mas maninipis yung wires na ginagamit para hindi mag-cause ng electric circuit or parang too much na kuryenteng dumadaloy.
Okay, it could be. Sige, let us try to explain bakit kaya. Take note ha. Even these two wires, iba yung millimeter niya. Take note ha. Pare-pares, let's say these two wires pares yung haba. The only difference is yung kapal or thickness. So, bakit kaya yung letter B or letter A, tingnan natin sa dalawa. Kung alin ba ang mas higher ang resistance. Okay? It shows, based on the cross-sectional area, that the resistance of the conductor is inversely proportional to the area of a cross-section of the conductor. So, meaning to say, the resistance of a thin wire is more than the resistance of a thick wire. So, Sir Jonel, A po yung mas malakas yung resistance. Kasi pag minimin natin ng cross-section, ito yung dimension or inside the what do you call this? The wire. Kasi class, ang wire po, may dalawang klase yan. Diba? Have you tried to open or nag-try na kayo mag-alis ng ng insulator ng wire? Naka-experience na po ba kayo? Yes or no? Hello, people?
No, sir.
Okay. Kung na-experience nyo na o nakakita na kayo, ang wire kasi class, may dalawang klase yan. We have a solid conductor, diba? Ito sa baba, makikita nyo. And we have a wire, madami or stranded type. Okay. So, based on these two picture, alin kaya dito ang mataas naman yung resistance? Is it letter A or letter B? And why? Anybody who like to guess? So, as I've said, ang wire kasi dalawang klase. Yung isang strand lang na medyo thick is a solid wire. While the rest naman na marami siya, iba-ibang klase na parang, tawag doon, iba-iba siyang strands. These are stranded wires. So based from these two pictures, alin po dito ang what do you call this? Ang stranded ay ang malakas yung resistance. Anybody would like to give their answers? Yes? Sige po, you're recognized. Sige po, ma'am.
Letter B.
Sige, bakit kaya? Bakit kaya daw? Who has an idea? Why is it B yung mas malakas yung resistance? Yes? Sige po.
Letter B po, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi marami pong strands. And parang nadidistribute po, sir, yung power sa bawat strand.
Okay, sige. Let's get to know. Tama, I take my point din si ma'am. Tama yung idea niya. Baka mahati yung flow of electrons. Could be. So, standard wire will have, tama yung sagot ng dalawa kanina, will have higher resistance than solid wire or solid conductor. Even though of the same diameter sila, because the cross-section of the standard wire is not all copper. Kasi ang cables or wire class, iba-iba din yan. May tinatawag tayong American wire gauge. O ito yung standard. And may mga sizes. May mga wires din na iba-iba yung property nila. Minsan may gold, minsan may copper, minsan may... So, iba din yung kanya. So, the longer or thinner the wires, the greater the resistance. So, yan ang reason kung bakit this also contributes yung cross-sectional area, in determining the highest or lowest or the increase or decrease of resistance. Okay. Next factor naman is the temperature. We have two pictures, A and B. Both of them, parehas ang diameter or cross-section area and parehas din yung length of wire. And parehas din yung type of material na gagamitin. Yung picture A, parang nilagay mo siya sa mainit na lugar or ininit mo siya. Samantalang yung letter B na wire, nakalagay siya sa loob ng freezer. Sa tingin nyo dito sa dalawa, alin po ang mataas yung resistance? Is it letter A or letter B? And tell us why.
A few moments later.
Yes? Serious? Hello, tao po. Lalim mag-isip. Anybody who like to guess? Yes, paramdam naman po kayo. Andyan po ba tayo? Andyan po ba pa rin po ba kayo? O nagsiuwian na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, who like to guess? Sige na po, wag nang mahiya. Alin dito yung mataas yung resistance? Yung hot wire or yung cold wire? Anybody who like to answer?
Pwede pong mag-guess.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead po.
Pag ma-hot, mas more resistance than dun sa cold. Kaya ko po yung nasabi kasi sometimes, for example, yung sa charger, pag mainit siya, mas mahina po siya, mas matagal po siyang mag-charge.
Mhm.
Then, while dun pag medyo, yung hindi siya mainit, ayun po, mas
Okay.
mabilis mag-charge.
Okay. Tama po yung sagot natin, ma'am. Okay, tama po na mas increase yung resistance sa hot wire compare sa cold wire. Kasi po, if the temperature of the conductor connected in the circuit increases, the resistance increases. Kasi kasi the principle here since we're talking about the factors that affect resistance, the higher the temperature, the higher the increase in resistance. The lower the temperature, if it's cold, the decrease in resistance. So these are the four factors that affects the temperature or the resistance. Okay? So next part, since we still have time pa rin, lubos-lubusin ko na eh. Kasi I heard that we will be having a meeting on Monday. Schedule siya 1 p.m. but wala pang letter eh. So baka hindi tayo mag synchronous meeting. That's why since we still have enough time, discuss ko muna tong material natin. So can you guess who's in that picture? Na-mention ko siya kanina. Do you have any idea? So kanina may mention akong physicist, scientist, German scientist, a teacher, a mathematician. Have you seen this guy or person? Or, di ba, pinagawa ko, part of the activity natin or learning task is the history of electricity and electronics. Yes? You recognize? Yes po.
Si George. Yung sa Ohm's Law po.
Yan, sige. George Bush? Sino?
George Ohms. George.
Wala.
Ohm.
Okay, tama. George Om, pero may kwan pa siya eh. May second name ba yun? Or... Yes po, you are recognized. Thank you, ma'am. Tama po. Yes po. What is...
George Simon Om po, sir.
Okay. Correct po. Thank you, ma'am. Siya po, yung mamang to, talagang, I salute this man. Talagang legendary siya sa amin, sa field ng electricity and electronics. He's no other than George Simon Ohm. Tama yung sinabi ni ma'am kanina. Kayong may kinalaman sa Ohm's Law. He's a German scientist. Kasi ang Ohm's Law, yan po ang pamantayan, basihan or the fundamentals ng electricity and electronics. Kahit nag-aral ka ng higher mga math or mga computation subjects, lagi yan, babalik at babalik ka sa Ohm's Law. Okay. Siya, itong mamang to, ito yung nag-aral ng, I really respect this guy kasi dahil sa kanya, meron nabuo yung electrical and electronics. That's why we have this electrical engineering, electronics communication engineering, electrical technology, electronics technology, because of this guy, this person, in the name of George Simon Ohm. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na Ohm's Law. The next topic natin, and if I'm not mistaken also, ang sabi ko sa inyo, ang pop activity na lang ako lagi kasi yung mga materials ko I provided you. So babasahin nyo lang, pag-aaralan nyo, and you have to submit. Madali nyo siya magets kapag nasagutan nyo na yung mga learning tasks or activities, nabasa nyo lahat ng pag-aralan nyo. Okay, take note ha. End of mid-year is fast approaching. Today is the first day of July 1. Okay, ilang days na lang po. Take note ha. Hindi basta rini-remind ko lang kayo, may project pa kayong gagawin. Okay? Maliban sa mga learning tasks, activities, and experiments. Okay. Ano ba yung Ohm's Law? Okay, when we say Ohm's Law, okay, this is the description. Dahil kay George Simon Ohm, he described the relationship between current, voltage, and resistance. Dahil sa Ohm's Law, meron tayong tinatawag na formula. Ito yung ginagamit or used to calculate the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance sa isang electric circuit. Diba? If I'm not mistaken, again, binigyan ko kayo ng problems, right? And it requires a solution. And not just only giving the answers, pinapasolve ko kayo doon. So, para maintindihan, for those hindi pa nakakasagot, ito po yung Ohm's Law. According to George Simon Ohm, because of the Ohm's Law principle, he states that the flow of current is directly proportional to the voltage applied and inversely proportional to resistance. Para maintindihan, in simplest term, any voltage and current, they are parang aligned or parang, kumbaga, these are two lovers. Or these two are lovers. Samantalang si resistance, ito yung parang third wheel or not third wheel, exactly third wheel. Ito yung parang kontrabida sa pagsasama ng dalawa, si voltage and current. That's why the flow of current is proportional or directly proportional na sa voltage applied pero inversely proportional to its resistance. Okay. And if you can still recall kanina, sabi ko, kabisaduhin, tandaan lagi yung mga symbols. Kasi later on, once you, pag may mga problems tayo or mathematical problems, na mga given problems, sagutin nyo po siya. And dapat familiar kayo sa mga symbols. So, sa formula, since alam na natin yung relationship between voltage, current, and resistance, kaya meron tayong Ohm's Law formula. So, in the term, let's say the problem is kompleto yung current and resistance. Ang given or ang what is missing is voltage. So, in finding the voltage, alam yung symbol dapat ha, B, as in victory, capital B. Voltage is equals to current times resistance. Okay? B is equals to I times R. Current is I naman. Kapag current naman is missing, is yun ang hinahanap, current is equals to voltage over resistance. So I is equals to B over R. In other books or references pala, I forgot, ang B, instead na B symbol, ang nilalagay E. Okay? Other term for voltage, right, is electrical pressure, potential difference, or ano pa? Yeah, potential difference or electromotive force. Kaya minsan, may encounter ninyo, instead B ang ginagamit, E. Okay? Current is equals to voltage over resistance. I is equals to B over R. Resistance naman po, obviously, R yung symbol. And it is equals to voltage over current. That's why R is equals to B over I. So, yan ang Ohm's law formula. Okay? To clearly understand, intindihan nyo lalo, ito yung tinatawag nating Ohm's law triangle. Minsan, when I was a student, actually guilty ako dito eh. Kapag may mga mathematical problem, sinusulat ko to sa desk or sa lamesa para maintindihan ko kung paano magets yung sagot or formula. So ito yung tinatawag natin, minsan itong ginagamit kong kodigo. So B, I, and R. So ito yung tinatawag natin, again, ito yung tinatawag natin Ohm's law triangle. Paano bang pag-compute? Para madali yung kung paano natin gagamitin yung equation niya, yung formula niya, by means of this triangle representation. Ang iba kasi nasa bilog eh. Okay, but this time naka-triangle siya. So paano ba paghanap ng voltage? So ang ginagawa yan is imagine tatakpan nyo yung B. Okay? Once tinakpan yung B, ang problem is hinahanap yung voltage. So therefore, ang available is I and R. So pag ganyan yung illustration po, voltage is equals to current times resistance. Okay? So ang ginagawa ko, habang pag nag-exam to, tinatakpan ko yan. So I times, so ibig sabihin, i-multiply ko yung current and resistance. Okay? The other one naman, kapag yung current naman, balik tayo, yung current naman ang wala or yung hinahanap, I is equals to voltage over resistance or V over R. Okay? Let's see. Kapag resistance naman, yung hinahanap based sa problem, so, cover mo lang yan. So, tandaan mo, V over I. Okay? Or voltage over current. So, ganyan ang formula or mathematical pag-solve in finding voltage, current, and resistance. Can you follow, class? Are you still there?
Yes po. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sige. Look at the illustration. Sample problems. Ito yung schematic diagram. Di ba ito yung voltage? Ito yung dry cell. Pag ganyan yung symbol, class, that is a dry cell. Kapag dalawa nito, that will be a battery. Kasi ang battery is composed of 2 or more cells. Ito kasi one cell ang tawag dito eh. That's why it's a cell. Okay? And if you will notice the symbol, positive is mahaba and mas maikli is negative. Even kasi polarity, importante. Malaman nyo kung saan ang polarity ng component or yeah. Sige. So, yung value natin is 24 ohms and 12 volts. So, who can give me the value of current? Anyone? Try to solve on a piece of paper or in your memory. Kung masagutan nyo to. Simple problem ano. So, ang hinahanap natin is I or current. So, what's the answer for this one? Anybody? Yes, you are recognized?
2, sir.
Bakit 2?
Divided by 24 divided by 12.
Are you sure? Bakit? Ano ba yung formula for finding current? Can you still remember?
I equals V divided by R.
Sige. So B, tama ba? B divided by, so 12 volts divided by 24. So 2 ba ang sagot? Tandaan nyo ha.
0.5 sir.
Okay. Balik tayo ha. Balik tayo. Sige. Ito, balik tayo sa symbol. So ang hinahanap is I, right? Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, mahalaga itong Ohm's law triangle. Actually, tama yung sagot ni... Tama, Sir Marlon? 0.5 ang sagot mo? Or 0.05?
0.5 po.
Okay.
0.5.
Are you sure? 0.5? Kung 0.5 siya, anong value? Yan pa kayo nagkakaroon ng parang... Usually sa mga klase ko, lagi dyan nagkakamali. Tama yung computation, tama yung equation, pero pagdating sa value, mali na yan. Kasi sa akin, pag nag-exam ako nito, dapat tama yung formula mo, tama yung equation mo, even yung until you arrive with the solution, and then tama yung correct answer mo. Kasi pag mamali yung isa, even the correct answer, hindi mo nalagyan ng value or mali yung value, mali na po yan sa akin lahat. So, 0.5 or 0.05? Final answer.
0.05.
0.05.
Oh, 0.05 watt. Mali ka na dati.
Amperes.
Okay. Amperes or amps or A. So, tingnan natin ano. So, voltage is 12 volts. Right? Yung given. And R is 24 ohms. Current natin, this is yung missing, nawawala. So from Ohm's law, I is equals to B over R equals, di ba? 12 divided by 24, tama, 0.5 amperes. So wag niyong kakalimutan lagi, class, yung unit of measure niya. Okay? Sige. So para hindi tayo malito, tingnan niyo ulit yung table. Quantity, current, symbol niya is I. Unit of measurement, ampere, amps, or A. Abbreviation niya ito. Pag voltage, E or B. Minsan sa mga sample problems. Volt is the unit of measurement. Ito yung abbreviation niya. Resistance R, ohms. Diba? And, or you can use ohms or omega symbol. Diba? Ito yung Greek letter na ginagamit sa problem solving sa Ohm's law. Sige. Let's try another problem. In a circuit, the potential drop across the 10 kilo ohm resistor is 100. You can get your paper on a piece of scratch, try to answer this. What is the current through the resistor? Sige, you can try this. You can use your calculator or you can, pwede nyo, much better sana if manual eh. Mas ma-appreciate nyo siya kung paano nyo makuha until you arrive with a solution or answer. Who wants to try? Or nag-solve pa ba? Busy ah. Yes?
10, sir.
Yes po.
10 ampere.
10 ampere. Sige. Are you sure? Can you tell us, ma'am, bakit kayo nag-arrive sa 10 ampere?
Current, sir.
Ha? Kaya nga, bakit ma'am 10 ampere?
Ano, sir, yung sa what is current,
Mm-hmm.
yung, ano yan? Yung equation niya, sir, is current is equals to voltage divided by resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos, 100 divided by 10 equals 10.
Okay, let's see. Yes, who wants to try? Yes po.
0.01 ampere po.
Okay, may I know your reason? Bakit 0.01?
Kasi po yun, sir, yung 10 kilo ampere is not
Kilo-ohms. Kilo-ohms.
kilo-ohms pala, kilo-ohms.
Sige.
Yung kilo-ohms pa is equivalent to 10,000
Yes.
ohms.
Opo. You got it right. Eto paano? Good observation. Class, be careful sa mga tawag dito? Mga shortcut. Diba? Halimbawa, 10K. Akala nila 10 yan. Exactly. Kasi may tinatawag tayo mga corresponding value. Sa electronics and electricity, pag sinabing kilo, that's 1,000. Lalong-lalo na if you will encounter resistor color coding. In even other components. Pag may nakita kayong 10K or 1.5 kilo ohms, 1.5 is 1,500. Okay, pag mayroon kayong nabasang 1M or 10M or 100M, that is mega. Kilo is 1,000, mega is equivalent to millions. Okay? So let's see if tama yung sagot ni Sir Jonel and Ma'am. Check natin. Solution. Substitute all known numerical values into the ohms equation. B is equals to I times R. Substitute natin. Ang hinahanap is current. So, I is equals to V over R. So, 100 volts over 10,000 ohms. Okay. So, once you divide this, you will get to Sir Jonel, 0.01. What is the unit of measure?
Ampere po.
Okay. Huwag niyong kakalimutan lagi yung ampere. So, some of you already submitted their outputs regarding sa Ohm's law formula or Ohm's law problems and require solution. Hopefully, yung iba makasubmit na po. Kasi, to avoid cramming. Yeah, time is of the essence. I know you have lots of tasks. Pero, time management lang. I know you can do this in God's grace. Sige. Next, another problem. That's before we end this course. Another problem. Who wants to answer? On your piece of paper or using your calculator, probably your phones. Can you give us the value? So this time, ang hinahanap is resistance. Okay, you can click the raise hand icon or unmute your audio. Okay? Yes? You recognize?
20 ohms po.
Okay, 20 ohms. Bakit 20 ohms yung sagot natin, Sir Jonel?
Just divide po 110 volts divided by 5.5 amperes.
Okay, let's see if tama yung sagot. So, the solution for this given natin is, tama yung sinabi, 110 volts and the current is 1.5 ampere. Ohm's law relates them as below. Tama ba? R is equals to B over I and then substitute 110 over 5.5. Tama ba yung answer mo, Sir Jonel? 20 ohms?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, correct. That is 20 ohms. That is the value of resistor. So, ganito lang po, balikan nyo ulit yung eto lang. Yung tawag dito, yung Ohm's law triangle. So, para guided kayo. Kasi, may instances din class, minsan available itong charge na to, pero yung iba hindi. Okay, halimbawa, late next meeting, if may meeting kami, if I don't know, I'm yet not sure if may meeting kami. If wala kami meeting, I'll inform you. We can proceed with power. Power kasi is another unit of charge. Continuation tayo. Halimbawa, power yung given, halimbawa, voltage yung given, resistance yung given, yung power ang hinahanap. So, may corresponding Ohm's law, power triangle naman tayong tinatawag or pie chart para mahanap mo yung value. Okay? So, class, that's how we end our session. Do you have any questions or clarifications po? Or queries about the the topic that I presented and or anything about the activity? Class?
None.
For sir, wala naman po.
Okay, thank you. Nagka-problema yung aking video. So, teka muna. Before we leave Tabi, can I ask for okay, reminder about your project na gagawin ninyo? Wala ba kayong concern or kung paano gagawin yung project? Wala naman po ba? Class? How about the rest? None? Sige. So, teka lang set ko muna yung aking camera for our photos. Wait lang po Sige. Kasi nag-crash na naman yung aking OBS. Okay. Wait a minute. Sige. So, I'm back once again. Okay. So, sige po. May I ask everyone to turn on their camera for our photo documentation as my evidence. Ma'am Jopel, Ma'am Christine, are you there po?
Sir, I can't open po my camera po.
May,
Medyo po kasi.
maybe the signal. Okay. Sige.
Yes po.
Sige. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Thank you, class. Thank you for your time and good luck po sa project ninyo
Bye po, sir. Thank you po.
and sa mga learning activities na ginagawa nyo ngayon. Sige. Bye-bye. Um, okay, class. I'm not sure if we will be having a meeting on Monday. I'll inform you in advance just in case. If or if not, if we don't have a scheduled meeting, we will continue the discussion about power as one of the also unit of charge and other topics relevant to electrical and electronics technology course. So if you have concerns about the project that you're currently working on as a group or learning tasks or activities, feel free to message me. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. And as I always say, keep safe always.
Zombie apocalypse.